You all right over there?
Just moving a little slow this morning.
A lot of banging around. Doesn't seem to have your A game right now.
That is Mark looking for my C+ game. Just trying to ham and egg a few pars and find my groove on about the 5th tee. Look at this. We're already up and live. It's early for Mark Miller. Man, press that button at like 5:55.
That's when we're supposed to press it.
I understand. It's part of the shape up, I guess.
What the hell?
Oh, man.
Paul, what happened? It happened. What happened? What happens? Gotcha.
Ah, son of a... Paul, there's only one time that I move slowly, and if it's anything having to do with my back, I have always wanted to prevent a back injury. And so even like I get in and out of the car slowly. I bend down and pick things up slowly. Otherwise, I move probably too quickly. But anything where I could
foul balls.
Exactly. Dancing with my daughter at her wedding. Bucs' oldest is getting married. He's got 2 daughters who are in their 20s and the 2 boys who are 5.
Mm-hmm.
And his oldest is getting married. And I sent him and Troy the video, and because they both have a pair of daughters. And I said, just so you know, you guys are going to have to do one of these, And Joe said, complimentary things about me. He goes, but I have to make sure that my daughter doesn't see the video. And Michelle, his wife, loves the video and is constantly threatening to show his oldest the video. And he's like, if she comes up with some cockamamie concoction like that, Moulton, I will fire you. I go, it's your fault.
What, for having a daughter?
No, I mean, somehow, some way she's...
We've gone millions of years with having a normal dance. It's people like you that ruin it for guys like us.
Well, it's my daughter's fault. Actually, he said to me, he goes, here's the deal. If she comes up with some cockamamie thing, I'm going to need your daughter's phone number so the choreographer can talk to my daughter. I said, got it.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. A lot of meat on the bone from yesterday. How's your week going? You got over the hump? Let's finish this sucker off, shall we? How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network. And we broadcast in part on floridasportsnetwork.com. Top of the morning to you, Mark. Look at you with your Seattle Kraken shirt on.
David, it's nearly hockey season. I'm just getting ready. It's the exhibition season for some of us. It's the regular season for the rest of us.
So in other words, when it drops from 90 to 89, it's hockey season.
You got that right.
Aikman was dying in the booth Monday night. All right. A little bit of heat and humidity had returned in like the second half of the day on Monday for people who don't live in Florida. All right. And I mean, I had a roll of paper towels and I would just turn to him every 10 minutes and hold the roll. And he would pull what he needed and, be drying himself off and what have you. And finally he turns during a break and he goes, what the heck is going on? And I looked at him and I go, it's Monday, dude.
Yeah.
I go, no, seriously. I said, it's like 2 degrees above normal. I said, a touch of humidity is returned, normal humidity. He goes, this is what it's like this time of year? Yeah, it's kind of why a lot of people live here. Yeah. It's like, man, this is warm. So, but nope, not for us. It dropped down below 90. It's hockey
Fall,
season,
baby.
baby.
Fall.
That's right.
Just keep selling it, David, as best you can.
Well, you're fired up for hockey, and let me tell you, when the news broke yesterday, how many of you thought of our young Felipe? Huh? He had conditioned himself during the show yesterday. Oh, we don't need him.
Doesn't want Dame. No.
We don't need him.
Don't need him.
I just think that this is not a time for Heat fans to be upset. A lot of Heat fans, a lot of people surrounded by Miami Heat culture, whatever, are upset for whatever reason.
Yeah, because the big loser, when a star says, I want to play here, and ends up not going there, the loser in the trade was, wait for it, Miami.
But he's not a free agent. So this was the conflict of why he did not go to Miami was not because of him.
It's because of Miami.
It was because of the Portland Trailblazers deciding to go another route.
Well, technically you are correct. He was not a free agent. However, as we've all seen in the last handful of years, basically when a star says, I want to play here, they end up a free agent because they just strong arm the team into being sent where they want to go. What is interesting here is that apparently, and we'll have Keith Smith on in a couple of hours to talk about it, is that apparently 10 days ago that Lillard's people and the Blazers reached a plan B and said, listen, we really want it to be Miami, but if it's not happening there, we would be okay with here and here. And one of those two places was Milwaukee, obviously because of Giannis. And there's a lot in that story, Mark. I mean, Jimmy Butler just flat came out and said the NBA might as well investigate for tampering. And if you remember, which I doubt that any of us do, including even young Felipe, who was obsessed with the association. So when Giannis was picking players for the All-Star game, and it was Giannis and LeBron, do you remember who Giannis picked first? It was Damian Lillard. And even LeBron went, wait a minute, what's going on here? So they obviously have a relationship, and it's pretty good. And so Damian Lillard, who 2 years ago during the NBA playoffs, a Bucs fan, when they were losing to the Nets, sent a tweet out directed at Lillard and said, when we lose, will you just come to Milwaukee, please? And his answer was simply no. Well, 2 years later, it's yes.
Hand it to the Bucs for getting this done.
Totally.
Of all of the places that you thought Dame Lillard was going to end up at, Milwaukee was on nobody's radar.
No. Now, I have to admit, I didn't think he'd agree to a trade to Toronto. Like yesterday at this time when it was supposedly Chicago and Toronto, and I thought, well, then he's going to end up in Chicago. He just is. I don't think, because he's got 4 years left. You know, Kawhi agreed to the deal because Kawhi had a year left before free agency. So Kawhi was like, yeah, they're a good team. In fact, might be a very good team. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. You know, Lillard, he's already playing on his last contract. I mean, he's damn near mid-30s already. I mean, so wherever he's going, this is it. This is where it ends. But yeah, how about that? How about that? Milwaukee. Because, Mark, when you think Miami versus Milwaukee for an NBA player.
Right.
I mean, you take Milwaukee not even one time out of 100.
For an NBA franchise? No.
Right. So we'll get into whether or not, I mean, listen, offensively, yeah, it makes them better. I don't know if it makes them better, though. I mean, Giannis is not a good defensive player. Lillard is a horrible defensive player.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't think Giannis is a good
He
defensive player.
won a defensive player of the year.
I'm telling you, I don't think he's a good defensive player. Okay? I know he can he's a great help defender. Great help defender. Okay? But all right, I mean, if you think in the playoffs he's a great defender, he gives great effort, he's a great rebounder, he's a great help defender. Okay? But okay, I could be wrong on that. Been wrong on a lot. So Giannis is an excellent defender. But Brook Lopez is slow. Okay? Chris Middleton is slow after 2 knee injuries. And Damian Lillard is one of the 5 worst defensive players in the league. I mean, Felipe, in the first round, Miami against Milwaukee last year, what could Milwaukee not do to Miami?
Guard.
Miami scored 120 a game.
Hell, Drew Holiday was probably their best defensive player.
He was their best.
He
was their best. That is the one
and
part about this trade. They lose their defensive shutdown guy.
And he could not do blankety blank about Jimmy Butler.
Exactly.
Not anyone.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, they'll be an amazing regular season team if they all stay healthy and they all decide to play more than 55 games. But I'm curious in the playoffs whether or not they'll be a better playoff team than they have been, because they've been last 3-4 years. But
which is another big thing, by the way, staying healthy. Damian Lillard in his past 3 seasons has averaged maybe 55 games a season.
Less even. I think his last 2 games combined, he's played like 80 games. So, yeah, there's age. What's he, 34 when this year starts? Brook Lopez is 34. Chris Middleton, I think, is 30, in his 30s. Yeah, there's age in Milwaukee. But it's once again, Mark, I mean, it's fun, right? This is fun.
Absolutely. And to me, seeing Milwaukee land a top-tier players is great. It's nice to say, hey, they're not going to LA. Hey, they're not going, and I'd love him to go to Miami, but you know the point that I'm making. It's impressive when a Milwaukee can pull this off.
The Bucs did what the Cavs couldn't for LeBron in his first run.
No doubt.
The star.
No doubt. You're exactly right. Milwaukee was able to, a city where free agents normally don't go. And think about it. They've been able to acquire Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and now using Drew Holiday in part to get Damian Lillard. Good for the Milwaukee Bucks, realizing that free agents aren't going to go there unless you obscenely overpay them. Mark, it's the problem you have in Detroit with your Pistons. The Pistons, nowadays, not in the 80s, not even into the 90s, but in modern day NBA, the only way Detroit gets players is to overpay.
There's no doubt. You got to get lucky with your draft picks and make them pan out and then overpay for the free agent to finish the deal off. And that's what Milwaukee did. I mean, obviously with Giannis, the star that he is, they built around him. But what did Giannis do? Giannis went to the front office and said, "Get me help or I'm out of here."
Well, and Giannis didn't sign the extension. I mean, that extension's been sitting on his table for a while. Instead, he publicly went, only if we're a championship contender. I'm really not interested in staying here if we're not going to compete for championships. And come on, who doesn't root for the guy, the great player, the Hall of Famer, to play his whole career in one place? Get the statue in front of the arena in 15 years. I mean, who doesn't want that? Wouldn't that be great? Even if he knocks my team out of the playoffs for the next 3 years, I think it'd be great.
I wonder if that's, and I don't know, Felipe, does that mean a thing to you, a player playing his whole career in one place? Because it's very much in our generation.
Mm-hmm.
We were the last generation. So does that even matter to you, Philly?
That's the thing. Not anymore. I mean, of course it matters to me, but it just doesn't seem as feasible anymore. It doesn't seem as realistic.
Well, no, it's not as realistic. But
Right.
it's not what I'm asking you. Does it matter to you as a fan? Do you want?
Well, yeah. I mean, because I have Udonis Haslem, for example.
Well, but forget. I mean, listen. I know Udonis Haslem in Heat lore is a legend. He's a role player. Were you okay when Dwayne Wade went to Chicago for the hour and a half, or did that really bother you?
No, that bothered the hell out of me.
Okay, there you
go.
Okay, yeah. But it's different though because he actually won titles, and with Dame, he never won anything in Portland.
Yeah, it's. But come on, holding that against Lillard is ridiculous. Come on, they never had the best team. They never had the second best team in the West. I mean, they didn't.
No, of course that's not his fault. I'm just saying at some point you want to see him succeed.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. This would be, it'd be cool to see. He's only been to the conference finals once and they got swept. So, yeah, it'd be awesome for him to, get to the end there. And if he does, he'll do it in Milwaukee.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The funniest part about Jimmy Butler just flat out saying that the league needs to look into the Bucs for tampering is the fact that Tyler Hero then quoted a post of that of him saying that, and Hero says what that guy said when it was rumored that Hero was the centerpiece around the trade.
Well, he was. Didn't he take all Miami Heat stuff off all his social media for the last couple of months?
Took it off his bio, yeah.
Oh.
Which, by the way, like
He
people are acting like
he shouldn't get comfortable, by the way, because he could be in the Drew Holiday deal to Portland. He could still end up in Portland.
David, Super 70 Sports. Not that I don't want to stick on to this riveting NBA talk, but I'll move it to anything. Kyle Schwarber has struck out 24 more times this year than Tony Gwynn did during the 90s. The entire 90s.
Right.
I love Tony Gwynn stats.
I love his stats against the Big Three in Atlanta. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
He had like 390 against 3 Hall of Famers. Struck out like 3 times.
Wow, DA's doing mornings on Mad Dog now, huh?
He's paid his dues. They took his producer away from him to go work at WFAN like 6-8 months ago, and he went on a tirade in which he said, "I'm tired of CBS radio being the farm system." Okay, because I guess CBS, I think it's Viacom, or owns FAN or Odyssey, I don't know, whatever. And so he went on a tirade. I mean, to the point where people were like, "Damn, dude, you may have like maybe damaged your long-term future here." But he basically went to management and said, "Next time it's me. I'm out." And so it's not in the family, but it's kind of accepted. They were okay with him going over working for Russo. Russo may retire, by the way. After the Super Bowl, he might give up the radio show.
What am I hearing? Do you have the volume on the television, Felipe?
Oh, my mic is on. My bad. Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I think we have a heck of a show lined up for you. Roy Cummings, talk a little Bucs, go backwards and forwards. Alex Golesh, the head coach of South Florida. They're 500, aren't they? 2-2 after the win over Rice. Keith Smith will join us to talk about this Damian Lillard trade to my old Milwaukee. And Dr. Roto in a little more than 2 hours to take your fantasy questions. Don't submit them now. I will lose them. I mean, we still got 2 hours of comments, text line 21,000 in the Twitch chat room. The questions will be lost. So just hold on to them. About 2 hours from now, start sending them in. We start talking to Keith Smith about the Lillard trade. Start sending in some questions. Hey, I'm going to make you judge and jury. You ready?
Okay.
And I respect you. And I'm very serious when I say this. Despite the fact that it'll be odd as a juror handling a matter which involves Michigan State, that you're sitting there in your Michigan State golf shirt. Okay. That would seem as if I should kick you off of the jury, but I respect you enough. You are a straight shooter. And anyway, if you think that Michigan State's in the right, I'll respect it. If you think they've got no case, I'll respect that. But ready? So Michigan State fired Mel Tucker yesterday. And obviously, we have only $79 million at stake here. No big deal or anything, Mark. I mean, the conclusion you come to is no big deal. In their statement firing him, this is the conclusion they came for. And I am curious if you agree. They terminated Tucker's contract, quote, for his admitted and undisputed behaviors which have brought public disrespect, contempt, and ridicule upon the university. That's just the first part of their statement. I just want to see whether or not you agree with that. His behavior, or yours, have brought public disrespect, contempt, and ridicule upon the university.
That seems accurate.
Okay.
It does. I mean, as an alum, this is more ridicule against the university. There's no question there.
Now, of course, I can ask, is it $79 million worth? But okay. Now, here's the second part, which I have to be honest with you, sir, before I read this. I don't even know if it's relevant, but they put it in the statement anyway. So after bringing public disrespect, contempt, and ridicule upon the university and constitute a material breach of his agreement and moral turpitude. I got to be honest. I've heard the word turpitude. I think I have a general idea of what its definition is. But if you were to ask me to define it, I'm sure technically my answer would be wrong. Moral turpitude.
Wickedness, David.
Depravity,
wickedness.
So moral wickedness.
Yes.
I have to admit, I would have used wickedness. I think it would have been more enticing. So, do you believe, Mark, judge and jury, Miller, that Mel Tucker's behavior constituted a material breach of his agreement and moral turpitude?
I don't know how moral turpitude is something. I mean, that's moral wickedness. That's enough to cost you $80 million.
That's what they're claiming, Mark.
Now, there's no doubt that this story has a lot of levels to it.
Yep, this is an onion. Slice it however you want.
But moral turpitude.
First off,
I'm not sure. I'm with you. I'm not sure why it's in there. But that's
I know why.
Yeah, that's their legalese. That's their
morals clause of the contract. There you go. I had to work that in. Work the word moral in. Morals. Well, how the hell am I going to do that? Well, I don't know. Put turpitude with it. Just throw it in there. So I'm just curious because at the first part of this, my opening statement, you're okay with. You're like, yeah, public disrespect, contempt, ridicule on the university.
My godson's about 30 years old, and should probably know the exact age, but He's my nephew. He's my cousin as well. And he's in his 30s, and he's a Michigan State grad as well, and he's a diehard Spartan. And he called me about 3 weeks ago. And he just said, he goes, I really would like a point when I can put on my green and white and wear it and not feel badly or have to answer for wearing it. So the first part of the statement is true.
Okay.
As an alum, there is a shame that we all feel upon us right now walking around.
Fine. Now, the whole constitutes a material breach of his agreement. I don't know about that. I mean, that'll be the $79 million question, because clearly that, they're trying to not pay him. And moral turpitude.
Do you think he's going to get paid?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I do too.
Absolutely. I think this is all.
There's no doubt that Mel Tucker is going to win this sucker when it goes to court. And Michigan State is going to find out that they're going to have to pay him the $80 million. And from a football standpoint, I'm not sure what that does to Sparty going forward, because they're going to have to pay another coach. Are they willing? Is Ishba going to come up with the money to pay someone else? But as far as Tucker goes, I think he gets paid. And David, sorry, you cut out there, but I think he'll get his $80 million. The question becomes, is Ishba going to spend enough money to hire another football coach in the middle of this, which I think he will?
I don't think he'll get the full 79. Because first off, to get the full 79, my guess is he'll have to go the distance. And at some point, when the first digit's like a 5, you turn around, you go, yeah, that's probably enough. I can live with that. But my guess is, Mark, Michigan State's trying to get out of this with 30. And that Mel Tucker and his folks are thinking, 55. I'm guessing they're 20 to 25 million apart right now. Moral turpitude.
Because Tucker's going to have a tough time getting a job anywhere.
Oh, no. To the point, I don't think he'll ever be hired by a college again. I think he can coach in the pros, not a head coach, but I think he can be a position coach. He can be part of an NFL staff. I don't even think Nick can hire Mel Tucker for at least 2 years. And Nick can hire anybody. I don't think they'd approve of him hiring Mel Tucker. Now, we could get into the specifics, whether or not, he's getting railroaded, and whether or not, we need to grow up and talk about things and what have. We could do that. We're not going to. This is just life in the world of public opinion, and Mel Tucker is damn near a deviant, and in some cases worse, and there's no way a university is going to touch him. They're just not. The pro sports is different. If he's a line coach or a running backs coach or what have you, the fan bases won't care.
No, not for a defensive back coach. It's not going to make a bit of difference.
Right. But yeah, Mark, he may never work in football at any level again. Moral turpitude, though. Man, good thing they don't use that word around us, Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Uh-oh.
White balance your screen.
Uh-oh.
2, do we want to go a Dame Lillard poll question? Do we want to go a Ryder Cup poll question? Do we want to go a Mel Tucker poll question? There you go. You probably need a new computer.
You're probably right.
We could be as simple as who wins the Ryder Cup, Team USA, Team Europe. We could go Dame Lillard. Did Miami lose?
No, we go NBA. We don't get anything. It would be either Mel Tucker or the Ryder Cup. We're probably better off going the Ryder Cup.
Actually, I think Tucker was doing a really good job, RCB, as someone who watches it. He was coming close on a lot of good recruits. They were losing, but they were in the hunt for big-time players.
Yeah, Bud Elliott talked about it yesterday. Michigan State needs a recruiter. So like Bud didn't like the Matt Campbell idea. Said he doesn't know if Matt Campbell wants to, swim in the deep end.
I love it. You know what I mean, guys? Do you know what I mean? Does he want to pay players? Does he want to negotiate free agents? Is that what I'm saying? Am I saying it clear enough for you guys?
Well, he was fired because keeping him was going to result in a lot of bad PR, and they also think now there's a chance to get out of an $80 million contract. And that basically keeping him is not worth the bad PR.
After the NASA thing, they already the sexual harassment thing lingers so strongly on that campus from the Nassar thing. They can't have it. They're not going to back a guy who's been accused of sexual assault. They just can't do it.
The other thing, though, I believe Tucker's right. I do think it's also tied to his wins and losses the last 2 years. I think if they were 8-4 last year, I think he'd still be the coach. If they were 8-4 last year and they had a team this year that looked as if they were an 8-4 team, I think he'd still be the coach.
It shows their ineptitude as a university right now. They're a mess. They need to go get a real AD. Very incestual there. They just keep hiring from within because they've covered up so much crap.
So we going Ryder Cup?
We get starting 5.
No, but poll question.
Yeah, Ryder Cup. It's up. I think I put it up under mine again. Whoops, I did. Oh, well. We'll retweet it under Florida Sports Network.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. This show really heats up 1 hour from now. Roy Cummings to talk Bucs. Alex Golesh to talk South Florida football. Keith Smith to talk to Damian Lillard trade. He went to Milwaukee. And Dr. Roto 2 hours from now to answer your fantasy football questions. Hey, is this shape up continuing? Do we have a poll question?
Damn right we do, David.
Wow.
Tomorrow, one of the great days to be a sports fan because the Ryder Cup begins, and it means you can wake up very early in the morning and watch live sports. So it's very simple. Who's going to win the Ryder Cup? Team Europe, Team USA. Not like we've won there often.
Nope. I mean, only a handful of times since 44. See where I went there? 93, ladies and gentlemen. Now, granted, we don't play there but once every 4 years, but I'm just saying, we haven't won there in 30. Ray Floyd was on the last U.S. Ryder Cup team that won in Europe. He's 81 years old. Okay? No. So.
And normally, we all wrap ourselves around the flag, but David, with the Ryder Cup, I don't. Because there's been a lot of years in which I look at Team Europe and I look at Team USA and going, what group would you rather hang out with? And it's Team Europe. But not anymore. I've had enough of Rory running his mouth. I want Brooks Koepka to be paired up against Rory in every match and beat him like a drum. I will do anything to see a Koepka-McIlroy Sunday singles match and have Koepka win 7-6. Actually, have him win one up with Rory missing a standard 4-footer for the match. That's would even be better. The more I wouldn't even want to see him get blown out. I'd like to see him 3-putt the 18th hole to lose.
You'd like to see him 1 up with 2 to play and have Koepka go par, and win?
Yes.
You're not angry at Rory, are you?
Well, I mean, he's just an ass.
Oh, okay.
You know, he had an opportunity to say, you know, there's guys that we would have loved to have, but circumstances that they're gonna miss us a lot more than we're gonna miss them. Can you just shut up and take the Ryder Cup in? We get it, Rory. At this point, we've figured it out. You're getting tens of millions of dollars to play on the PGA Tour. Everything that Phil said was right, but sure, let's continue to blame the LIV guys for why you can't make a putt.
So you're rooting for the first time in a long time, you're rooting for the U.S.
Hard. I want Rory to go 0-5.
So you're rooting for the U.S., which is understandable. But the question is, who do you think will win the Ryder Cup?
Yes.
You chicken.
That's the
blank.
question.
You chicken. I
We
voted
better win.
Europe. I voted Europe. Of course, I'm rooting for the U.S. But the question is, who do you think will win? Until the U.S. does it, until Texas went into Alabama and won a big game, you bet against Texas. And then you go, I'll be damned. Texas won a big game. The United States and Europe is Texas. And I hope they do it. They should be able to do it. But until they do, I'm betting on Europe. 18 minutes before the hour. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Man, the day was not looking good for the Marlins at all. They send their best pitcher of the day out in the first game of the doubleheader. He and they get bombed 11-2. And then the Cubs play with a lead the whole damn night in Atlanta. The Marlins are 2-2 in the 9th inning of the second game. The good thing for the Marlins is the Cubs had to go to their bullpen. Cubs gave up a run in the 7th, a run in the 8th, a run in the 9th, and 2 in the 10th. Ronald Acuna, by the way, stole 2. He drove in the tying run in the 10th, stole second, his 70th steal of the year. That's right. He's now the only member of the 40-70 club. And then he scored the game-winning run. That's your National League MVP. And that's despite the season Betts is having. And then the Marlins scored 2 in the 9th to get a split. What does it all mean? It means with 4 games left in the season, the Marlins and Cubs are tied. Mark, who owns the tiebreaker?
That would be your Miami Marlins, David.
So if the playoffs started today, the Marlins would be in them. And we owe Felipe money. Ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning of the season, Felipe said the Marlins would have a winning record. How ridiculous was that? So we bet him. And he had many opportunities to get off that bet. They fell below 500 in late August. They had an awful week earlier in the month. Felipe said, no, I'm good. And the Marlins won their 82nd game last night. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Boom! First winning season since 2009.
Yeah, we don't count the whole pandemic, like going 31-29 or 32-28, whatever they did. So there's the deal. By the way, for what it's worth, Lindor hit 3 homers in a doubleheader, and he's a 30-30 guy. That's a pretty good year for a shortstop. So Marlins get a split. Cubs lose. Arizona beats the White Sox 3-0. So Arizona's got a 2-game lead over Miami and Chicago for the 5 seed with 4 games to play. Meanwhile, the Reds were all but eliminated. They lost in Cleveland. Terry Francona's likely last home game as Guardians manager, his health is causing him to retire. He has not made it 100% official, but he's made it 99% official. Francona's 64, by the way. Cleveland with a 4-3 win over the Reds, who are all but done. The Padres stay mathematically alive. Mark, technically the Padres have the tiebreaker over the Marlins. We didn't even consider the Padres in this whole tiebreaker thing. So if the Marlins were to lose their last 4 games and the Padres were to win their remaining 3 games, the Padres would actually win the tiebreaker. The problem for the Padres is they also need the Cubs to lose all their games. So the likelihood is the Padres are done, but mathematically they're not. Rays beat the Red Sox 5-0. You know, Mark, once again, the Rays are just smarter than the rest of us. It was a 2-game series in Boston. Tomorrow's an off day. They know they're not going to win the East at this point. Baltimore won again yesterday, 5-1. Their magic number's 1. Remember when the Rays clinched the playoff spot, but they did it over a week ago in a loss in Baltimore, and they didn't celebrate making the playoffs. It was a big loss. That loss cost them the AL East. Well, so they never celebrated making the playoffs. So Kevin Cash looked at the schedule and said, well, hell, we got an off day. Why don't we just party in Boston like we made the play? So the Rays partied hard after the game last night, and I think stayed over in Boston on an off day and celebrated making the playoffs. Only the Rays would celebrate 10 days later and not at home. Just saying. I think they're smarter than the rest of us. I really do.
Well, there's no doubt there. I'm surprised. There's part of me that's surprised they even celebrated because their goals are so much higher than that.
It is 5th year in a row they made the playoffs, though. I mean, say that out loud. Tampa Bay Rays 5 years in a row have made the playoffs. They're 27th in payroll, by the way. Orioles are 29th. They're second best record in baseball.
28th in attendance.
Yankees are not going to have a losing season. They won again in Toronto, 6-0. Garrett Cole with the complete game 2-hit shutout. He wrapped up his Cy Young Award-winning season at 15-4 with a 2.63 ERA. 81st win of the year for the Yankees. By the way, a report by Bob Klapisch, a longtime New York sports writer and columnist yesterday, said that the Yankees are making major changes. What that constitutes, we'll see. Houston beat Seattle 8-3. They have a game-and-a-half lead on the Mariners. Houston with 3 games to play. They're all at Arizona. The Mariners with 4 to play. They're all at home, but they're against Texas, who won again last night 5-0. The Rangers' magic number is 2 to win the West. If Seattle and Houston, who are separated by just a game in the loss column, finish tied, Seattle wins the tiebreaker. Dodgers beat Colorado. Milwaukee edged St. Louis. Twins handed the A's their 110th loss.
We've got a lot of losses.
Rob Manfred spoke yesterday and said he hopes that the owners in November will vote to approve the A's move to Las Vegas. It'll be just the 3rd franchise to move in 50 years. By the way, Mark, if you're Oakland, what do? The lease on the stadium with the A's expires at the end of next year. They ain't going to be ready in Vegas till 2028. Do you give them a 3-year extension, or do you say, get the out of here?
I'd kick him out.
There you go.
I'd be done with it.
Damian Lillard's done in Portland. He got traded to Milwaukee. 3-way deal with Phoenix. Bucs trade Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, a draft pick, a couple pick swaps. Portland gets DeAndre Ayton from Phoenix, and they get Drew Holiday from Milwaukee. They're going to trade Drew Holiday probably by the weekend. And the Suns get a bunch of role players. Grayson Allen, along with Nurkic, who was a solid center for Portland. Not DeAndre Ayton, but he was solid. And they save a little bit of money as well. So you've got Giannis, Lillard, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, your big 4 in Milwaukee. Probably the betting favorites in the East right now. College football, Michigan State officially fired head coach Mel Tucker. They stay with cause, so they're not going to pay him the $79 million still left on his contract. Numerous reports yesterday, by the way, say the ACC is breaking up and that Clemson is the first one out the door. And they're bringing North Carolina, Virginia, and Florida State with them. And now the question is, which of the big 2 conferences are they going to? Big 10 or SEC? And right now, no one's got the answer. The Big 12 will take 4 more. There's your magic number of 8, and the conference can dissolve. Now, it won't dissolve. It'll then start grabbing some other schools, but you get the idea.
South Florida, you may be in the ACC before you know it.
Totally. Absolutely. We said it when it was all going down. Before SMU raised their hand and said, hey, would you take us? We said, well, why not South Florida? All right, we digress. Bryce Young looks like he'll play for Carolina against the Vikings. The Rams think not this week because he's still on the IL, but that by week 5, they'll get Cooper Kupp back. No Messi for Inter Miami last night in Houston. 2 first-half goals to win the U.S. Open Cup 2-0. And Mark, the USFL and the XFL are talking merger. And
Something
so
we've all been looking forward to, David.
Well, some of us have. And some of us just think it's the bane of their very existence.
The UXFL.
So the big decision, Mark, is if the USFL and the XFL are merging, what do you call the league? You just said you'd call it the UXFL, which I think is cute, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah. Apparently, they have asked for the trademark for National Spring Football League. You know, the fall and winter football league is called the National Football League, but they have asked to be called the National Spring Football League. I have a question. If you're the NFL, do you try to block that? That you say, no, that's too close to us.
100%. Because this will fail, and you don't want to be associated with a failing league.
So we'll see if the USFL XFL merger is called the National Spring Football League, the NSFL. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Thursday night football tonight. Lions a 1.5-point favorite in Green Bay. Think about that. Detroit a road favorite at Lambeau.
Well, all the success that the Lions have had at Lambeau, it makes perfect sense, David.
Hey, baby, they won there last year. Knocked the Packers out of the playoffs.
Miller and Moulton, Roy Cummings in 40 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologist, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So as you're aware, my wife is very active in the church, much like your wife was active for many years in the church, which means we go to church every Sunday. And I go willingly, without bitching, without making faces, show up, participate, do my job every Sunday morning. Told her in August, honey, football season starting. That means I'll go to church on Sunday. No more Saturday masses. I'm not going to Saturday mass at 4:00 because college football is being played. Just want to let you know, from now until December, Saturday masses are off. Are you okay if we go to church at 4:00 Saturday this week? That's the text I just got.
And you go, no.
I said, does we mean me too?
Because, no, I'm fine if you guys go to church.
Then on top of that, she wants, because now my wife's a catechist, and she does great work. I think very highly of all the things she's doing there. It's great for our daughter. But the catechism, which what faith formation they call now, but catechism, is for your kid to go to. They changed it this year. The lady that's running the whole program, it's families. So now twice a month, I have to go. I have no choice in this, David. You can nod your head all the time you want.
I'm shaking my head at the lady, not at.
I don't like her. I've never met her, and I don't like her.
Totally.
So now I've got to go to catechism twice a month. I went to a Catholic school. I've had enough religion to last several lifetimes. Miss Speaker, she sucked. Trying to think of the guy that I had the next year. He was terrible too.
Yeah. Tea or not.
Unbelievable.
My wife is doing a horrible job waitressing here. I have to find out in an hour, am I bringing tea in for my mother-in-law or not?
I should be waitressing for you.
My wife just told me I'm number one. So there you go. Off to a good start today.
Send her to Saturday Mass.
I think she's had enough too. No, I will never be paid by the AAF. No. I'll be on a list of creditors. $1,000 those rat blankety blanks. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Boutte. Like, I remember teams playing their two matchups both on Sunday Night Football, or one on Monday night, one on Sunday night, like both in prime time. But that's right, because the Packers and Lions are Thanksgiving in Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm. Which means Thanksgiving dinner this year will be at about 4:30, right after the Lions game.
There you go. Think that halftime nap?
No, I'll be cooking. Halftime nap of the second game.
That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Although, no, because my kid's getting in at set. He doesn't get in until like 7 o'clock on Thanksgiving.
Well, they take the nap before you go pick them up.
Be a big card game going on by then, I would imagine.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. Now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Early voting in our poll question. USA, USA, USA. Who's going to win the Ryder Cup? Remember, we're not asking who you're rooting for. I mean, I am assuming most people listening are rooting for Team USA. We're asking who's going to win. It's over in Europe. You know what our record is lately over in Europe? It's a big donut. And not in the right-hand column either. In the left. Not very good. So who's going to win the Ryder Cup? That's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter/X or FloridaSportsNetwork.com. There. Or the Florida Sports Network Twitter handle as well. So did you vote for, I know you're rooting for the U.S. You hate Rory McIlroy. You'd like him taken out back and beaten about the head and chest. You're tired of his whiny act. Got it.
Little B.
I got it. And by the way, a lot of people agreeing with you. You know, even those who a year and say 15 months ago, remember that Canadian Open win? What was that? Like June, July of 2022. And, you know, it was the win that passed Norman on the all-time list. And he made fun of Greg in the, you know, talking to Amanda on the 18th green. And, you know, they were chanting north of the border, Rory, Rory, you know. 15 months later, there are people who are like, you know, you've overplayed your hand, dude. You know, just enough already.
Well, yeah, because they all left for the money. What are you playing for?
The money?
The money.
Right. On both tours, by the way, DP World Tour and PGA Tour. You're double dipping. It is fascinating that the U.S. has no problem with an LIV guy on their team, and it's still this major cause of contention for Team Europe.
Well, I do know that Rory and Rahm probably won't be playing any matches as teammates.
I think there's a good chance of that. Besides, that would be their captain, you know, pulling a Hal Sutton and putting Tiger and Phil together.
Absolutely.
Right.
And usually it's, you know, I will say, usually it's Team Europe that's the close-knit group. And maybe they still are. But bringing JT into the fold, which had everybody ticked off, he's one of their guys.
No doubt.
He makes their team more of a team in their estimation, whether we like the pick or not.
It is a fascinating Ryder Cup. Both captains can be heavily criticized or, you know, lofted onto the shoulders because of the picks that they made. The other thing we'll see, like, you know, Zach Johnson's already said all 12 Americans are playing tomorrow. Yeah, Team Europe doesn't never work that way. They never have.
No, the captain's picks are cheerleaders for the first 2 days, a lot of Ryder Cups.
The young captain's picks often are like, listen, or the young guys that qualify, they go, yeah, you qualified because all the good guys are playing over on the PGA Tour. You'll just sit here quietly. You'll play Sunday because by rule you have to. I'm not sure how often you're going to play before then. Maybe by Saturday afternoon, somebody will be tired and you'll have to play. Just so get ready for maybe Saturday, maybe. But yeah, you know, they play like 9 guys, maybe 10 the first 2 days. Then a couple guys are taking the jacket off for the first time. It's like coming in and being asked to pitch when you're down 11-2. You know, that's how they treat a couple guys on their team.
I don't necessarily like Zach Johnson's approach beforehand saying everybody's going to play. Because if guys are playing well and teams are playing well, I want to roll them right back out there. I don't want to. I'm not saying I wouldn't play. I'm not saying I disagree with playing all 12. I'm just saying I'm not going into Friday morning making a statement saying we're playing all 12. I'm not.
Now, apparently this is a long, hilly course. Apparently this course is more difficult to walk than Augusta.
It is walking.
Yes, I'm aware of that, right? It's not what David Sampson just did for 2 days, you know, right? 48 miles.
He's not running
48 hours.
miles up and down these hills.
Right.
After all, it is walking and golf.
And someone is carrying your clubs.
Yes, it's walking.
I understand.
for men in their 30s who have never, at this sport, the players have never been in better shape than they're in right now. They've never been more physically fit playing this sport ever before in time.
Agreed.
They're walking.
I just apparently, Mark, though, it would be a brutal ask, Mark, to ask someone to play all 5 matches in 3 days on this course. I'm just telling you, I'm relaying the message, Mark. Apparently, it would be a brutal ask. Seriously, I'm picking Team Europe, and I don't think they're the better team. Actually, I think
I don't either.
Team USA is the better team. Here's the deal: we don't make big putts. We don't. If it's close, we don't make big putts. Now, if we get out ahead, we could steamroll. No. We're pretty good. You know, we blew the one. 10 years ago, we're up 10-6 heading into Sunday, and we choked like hairy dogs. But usually, we get out ahead of Europe, we can bury them. But if it's close, it's like a tennis match. We're real good winning the 6-1 sets. It's 4-4. We're going out there for the 9th game of the set. You start putting your money on Europe. And the other thing which is remarkable, and this has gone on now for a generation, and it's now happening on the women's side as well. Europe finds a way to play the last 3 holes so much better than the U.S. It's stunning in team competition, whether it's individuals on Sunday or alternate shot, best ball, doesn't matter. For whatever reason, Europe is so much better on the last 3 holes. And it doesn't matter what course they're playing either. Doesn't matter if it's in Europe, the States, tight course, long course, it doesn't matter. It's amazing to me. Mark, I'm not kidding. The one thing I would have done if I was captain of the U.S. Ryder Cup team, we would have played the last 4 holes honestly, I would have studied the last 4 holes. We would have walked them. We would have had a group discussion because we get our butts kicked in the final hour of these matches. And it's happened for a generation. And I don't know if that's we don't scout these holes and play them properly, or if that's just onions.
It will be amazing if Rory, who has his putter leaves him in big tournaments and he doesn't make the big putts, if he's the guy making the big putts for Europe.
You mean Sergio?
Right.
How ironic would that be? Hey, you've become Sergio.
So it gets started tomorrow morning.
1:30 a.m., Mark. This tournament was made for you.
You got that right. I won't even need an alarm tomorrow.
You're just going to wake up about 3:10. And instead of going, oh, man, I got to go back at another hour and a half of sleep, you're going to be like, oh, the Ryder Cup's on.
Got that right.
Trip over the dog, run out into the living room,
kick a cat on the way. Yeah, it's on. I'm fired up.
By the way, no Peacock. It's just USA and NBC. Now, if they also put it on Peacock, but you know what I mean. It's not like they did for some of the majors this year where you actually had to go and watch the golf only on Peacock. So,
yeah, I haven't jumped into the Peacock subscription yet. I didn't even bother for Michigan State, Washington, because I kind of knew how that game was going to go.
Right.
But there are a handful of Big Ten games that are Peacock only this year.
I know.
I'm surprised that they didn't put the first hour or so of coverage on Peacock to try to get more subscriptions.
It's on USA Network at 1:30. Then I think at 3 a.m. they switched to NBC. Man, do you know what they're doing? The money they are costing local affiliates? The money that the local affiliates make from 5 to 7 a.m. Eastern on news?
That's just on Saturday. Tomorrow's USA right on through.
Oh, thank goodness. Let me tell you.
They did a solid for their affiliates.
Yeah. Because the affiliates
a lot of money in local news. There's a reason why they come on at 4 a.m. with local news.
Now, don't get me wrong. They're costing them money on Saturday and Sunday morning, too, because those newscasts, which, by the way, are regurgitated news from 48 hours earlier, but that's okay. Apparently, they're still able to sell commercials. And don't forget the weather. Don't forget the weather. Yeah, oh, and not only that, it changes so dramatically from hour to hour this time of year. But, yep.
So that is our poll question. Who's going to win? Not who are you rooting for?
And I picked Europe. I'm sorry. Until proven otherwise. I'm rooting for them. I will be. And I'm glad there's a couple news. I'd love for Brian Harman. This might be his only Ryder Cup. I hope he plays great. And by the way, last time we saw Brian Harman in Europe, all he did was make putts. I hope he rolls it just like he did 3 months ago. I hope we're the one. It's why, by the way, even though I'm not a fan of his, Keegan Bradley should have been on this team. Keegan Bradley drives the ball great and makes putts. Now, he's a human rain delay, but I don't know what to tell you. He hits the fairway and he makes putts. That would seem to be like a pretty good guy to have in a Ryder Cup. But that's me. Now, Koepka would kill him by about the 14th hole if they were ever paired up together, but by then, maybe they're 4 or 5 up and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, if they just got if the match would be 4 hours, just might only be 13, 14 holes, David.
Exactly. I mean, Koepka would tell him on like the 4th tee, listen, dude, at the 4 hour mark, I'm going to kill you. So you better play really well.
Better make a lot of putts.
Right. You hit the fairway, I'll knock it stiff, make the putt. Okay? Man. So, but once again, we get to, like, they just played the Solheim Cup last week in Europe, ended in a tie. The President's Cup has the rule, if it ends tied, each team picks a guy, and then they go play sudden death for the cup. I got to admit, I like that idea. Now, that's drama. That's a 5th set tiebreaker. Let's end this sucker. I like it.
Shootout in hockey.
Well, but not in the playoffs. I mean, this is a
That's what I'm saying. I know. We've played all these matches, and now I pick a guy and you pick a guy, and we determine who wins off of that. I don't like it.
No, that's a regular season event. This is a Ryder Cup. This is like a Stanley Cup Finals here. We're not doing a shootout in the finals. You know, that could have been a poll question if we were like PGA Tour Radio or something like that.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years.
That hurt.
As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know how stupid you have to be to attempt to loot an Apple store? Like, you really don't even consider for a second the fact that all of those devices are being tracked and all of those devices are disabled, and you really can't do anything with any of the things that you have just stolen? People just don't use their brains these days. It's unbelievable. Well, that's always been the case, but it's televised more.
Super talented, and I just really like just the beats are crazy and obviously extremely heavy. That's brutal. This is I'm gonna have to have a conversation with him, I think. But the drummer that's on this band, and I believe he also produces the music.
I think you played that for like 15 seconds too long there. That's not even music. That's not even music. That's horrendous.
And my favorite band is actually a different band called Bill Giarta.
Sounds like the devil.
What is wrong with Victor? It's just super chaotic, but the more you listen to it, you find the
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. It's a busy commercial break for me there, Mark. I was balancing not one, but two checkbooks. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com.
Yeah, you know what? Hang on, let me do mine really quickly. Open the app, check the balance. Yep, we're good. Okay. Balance fine too.
Not really worried about the particulars, just that big number on the front. Is that it?
Yep.
Hey, hopefully it's got a comma. That's all I say. You know, if I see a comma, I figure we're doing okay. Marlins got a split last night, and the Cubs lost. So 4 games left in the season. Felipe won his bet with us. I don't know what we owe him. It's at least $20. And Marlins going to finish with a winning record this year. Now it's just a matter of, do they end up in the playoffs? They would be the 6th seed today because they own the tiebreaker against the Cubs. Reds are all but eliminated. Padres' magic number to be eliminated is 1, but technically if they win out and both the Cubs and the Marlins lose out, they'd actually sneak in with 82 wins. But for the most part, it's down to the Marlins and the Cubs.
Nice of the Padres to put a winning streak together and some winning baseball here right at the end of the season. I mean, really nice of them. Would love to see them go 81-81.
Well, I mean, this is the 1-6 Lions finishing 9-8 is what this is. And then if you're the GM, do you go, well, let's just roll this sucker back next year? We just figured it out too late. Or do you go, this was a mirage. This ain't right.
Something's not right there.
Why? Just because they have like the 5th best run differential in baseball and they're going to miss the playoffs?
Might be it.
Problem is, unlike the Lions, who basically brought everybody back and added to it, in baseball, I got, this free agency thing, a lot more player movement in free agency anyway. And so they got, their closer, their ace starter. I mean, they got issues. Got other guys who are entering the final year of their contract that they're owed, they're looking for about, $500 million, But anyway, can the Marlins finish it off? Rays all but eliminated in the East. Orioles magic number is 1. So the Rays last night celebrated making the playoffs for the 5th straight year. I got to be honest. That story has not gotten enough attention outside of Tampa St. Pete. In fact, I don't even know if it got enough attention inside Tampa St. Pete because the Bucs got off to a 2-0 start, and Steven Stamkos hinted he wasn't necessarily happy that he's entering the final year of his contract. There's a part of me that thinks that the Rays making the playoffs for the 5th straight year is underplayed.
Well, largely it is. I mean, here they are, 5th straight year in the playoffs. They had the 28th best attendance in baseball.
Hey,
and
big improvement, though. They what,
yes.
like 2,500 more people a game this year than last year?
Yeah, they averaged around 18,000 a game.
Correct. Place only holds 25, Mark. They're playing to about 72% capacity.
No, it holds more than 25. We all know that. They
close the upper deck.
Shuttered most of the building so they could have,
Yep.
they could make games sellouts, which is laughable.
They were Jags games for 10 years. We're
Yes.
just not. We're tarping. That's a tarp. Why? Yeah, nobody wants those seats.
But there was energy in and around the city and all throughout Southwest Florida that was felt throughout this season.
Got off to
there was in May and June, April, May and June. I think largely they started losing in July, and I think it died off. I mean, they didn't win the division. It's a great season. They made the playoffs, but after the start they had to not win the division, some would argue it's a bit of a disappointment.
They battled through injuries.
A lot. They did a
lot
ton
of injuries.
A ton of injuries, there's no doubt. But when you get off to the start that you get off, it'd be, what do you equate? The first 2 months of the year. So that's a third of the season. So that's what, 5 to 6 games of an NFL season. I mean, that's a team getting off to what, a 5-0, 6-0 start, and not winning the division. Going 13-4, posting a really good record, but still entering the NFL playoffs as a wild card. Isn't that the equivalent of what the Rays just did?
The Dallas Cowboys the last year.
You know, 12-win season, and you got to go the wild card route?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's who it is.
Yeah. I don't
And
disagree.
Felipe, you are 100% right. I mean, they've lost 3 starting pitchers for the year, 2 bullpen guys, and 1 for the year, and I think they could get 1 back here in the playoffs. They've lost, because of his own doing, but they lost Wander Franco. I mean,
hell, and they just lost their second baseman,
Brandon Lau,
to a kneecap. Even though we wanted to get rid of him midway through the year. I mean, yeah. Yes, I did.
You.
I was done with Brandon Lau.
You and Steve Carney went at it more than once on that subject, and Steve Carney every time was like, "No, that's the second baseman."
And Carney ended up being right. He bounced back. He was above average in the second half. He came up with some big hits. His power returned. Yeah, he had a year and a half in which he was terrible, and I bailed on him. I did. So Steve was right. And listen, the American League playoffs are going to be wide open. Honestly, the winner of the Rays right now, it'd be Rays Jays. If the Rays, they could lose in the first round, best of 3, and they could go to the World Series.
And I think you could say that about every one of the 6 teams that's going into the playoffs in the American League, with maybe the exception of the Twins.
And meanwhile, in the National League, it's all kind of like, well, you want to play your way till you lose to the Braves.
Although their pitching's not 100% entering the playoffs, right?
No, 2 of their top 3 starters are on the injured list. Charlie Morton's not going to pitch in the divisional round, which I think is the series in which they're most vulnerable because it's what, Mark?
It's a short series, David.
You got to go back about 10 years on Miller and Moulton. We went at it for a whole show about a short series. It was beautiful and contentious all at the same time.
Because
we were like
5, as you know, is a short series.
Right.
Best of 7 is a long series.
Right. Yep. Let me tell you, I was the umpire and Mark was Earl Weaver, and we went at it for a show.
And if you don't know that reference, just Google Earl Weaver manager arguments. It's like going down a Tonight Show.
Yeah. They took that out of baseball now with the whole replay and what have you. All right.
Still get a couple.
A couple. All right, Felipe, what do you got?
Back on March 29th, 2023, just a day before the Major League Baseball season started, I said this about the Miami Marlins.
Look, I don't usually say this, but I got a feeling about the Marlins this year.
That what? They're going to be bad? Do you know the division they're in?
I know.
Do you pay any attention?
I know. Oh, trust me. The Braves, the Mets, the Phillies. I don't know.
You don't know what?
What
do you think? Are they going to be 500? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I think they'll go over 500 this year.
Wow.
I got a feeling about the Marlins.
They're over under for the record 75.5.
Give me the over.
And after a rough 24-hour period with games being delayed due to field conditions, the Marlins pulled away late with a victory.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. And here's a swing and a ground ball hit to third. Beatty bobbles in. He bobbles in. Everybody is safe. Everybody is safe. The Marlins lead 3-2 here in the 9th inning. If Beatty fields that ball, it might be a double play. A costly E5. And the Marlins might control their own destiny if they can hang on here at Citi Field tonight.
Marlins would go on to score 1 more in the 9th to win 4-2. And ladies and gentlemen, the Miami Marlins have won 82 games in the 2023 Major League Baseball season. I'll take it in cash.
The funny thing is that he can listen to the rest of that tape. There was never any monetary value put on that bet, like every bet on this show. Come collect, Felipe. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Moral victories.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
None of this means a damn thing if they don't make the playoffs.
Oh, no. Really?
They need to make the playoffs. This season, they've gone through so much this year. They need to make the playoffs.
Well, they need to make the playoffs because the franchise could really, even though all 3 games would be on the road, it would be nice for them to be talked about at least for a week and get some attention. And it's tough, though, man. The Dolphins are undefeated and looking great. They're
you know,
he had the whole Messi thing. You know, he's kind of a deal. They ran into a bad break. This wasn't FAU and Miami going to the Final Four when there was nothing going on.
I had a moment yesterday where I stopped and thought to myself, are the Dolphins going after the Heat right now to reclaim Miami?
Felipe, Miller and Moulton have wondered, okay, if they could ever get good again, not if they were going after the Heat, just how long it would take to surpass the Heat. Because, Felipe, the Dolphins were the first pro sports team in the state.
Yes.
The Dolphins are a BFD, and it's just been in slumber. You'll see it on this coast, man. If they win Sunday, you wait to see what Southwest Florida becomes in October.
Yeah.
Morning, Roy.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Doing great. Yourself?
No.
Well,
no, the question is, how are you doing?
Yeah. Well, my heart is breaking slowly, unfortunately. I think it's going to be a slow death for our boys.
You know what you need, Roy? I mean, who'd have thought?
I need a rally. I need a rally that lasts.
You need a bullpen arm.
All these years later, you know what you were wishing for?
Yeah.
Joe Borowski.
Yeah, you may be right. You know, here's the thing. I mean, nobody expected this team to do.
Oh, here we go.
Well,
trying to condition the pain.
Come on. Well, come on. Seriously. They threw a couple of things out there. Let's go and get a couple of guys, see what we can do. I mean, they were going to be sellers at the trade deadline. And, I mean, 3 days before the trade deadline, a lot of people thought they were going to sell.
Yes.
They decided to hang in there, and it worked out very well. It's made for a really exciting season. But this kind of shows where they're at, you know, and if this is who they are. And
Yep. Hey, everybody's flawed. I mean, let's face it. That
Right.
team's probably going to make the playoffs with 84, 85 wins. But
yeah.
But I guess you guys have blown, in the last 2 weeks, 5 leads from the 8th inning on.
Yes, that's right. And you know, here's the other thing: they hold no wild card tiebreakers.
Right.
No tiebreakers over anybody. So, you know, if you weren't better throughout the course of the season than Miami or Cincinnati or you know, what are you going to do? You know, you can't. You had your chance. You know, but hey, it's been a fun season. They learned a few things. Hopefully they learned that they need to keep Cody Bellinger, but we'll see. We're not done. We got time.
I was gonna say it's not over, Roy. I mean, listen, I really want to feel bad, but you just keep on continuing to help the Marlins.
Yeah, I know.
Bailing
And
the Marlins out.
And I don't think, I don't have much hope for the Marlins without Sandy Alcantara. I think they're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
They just lost Tanner Scott at a tough time for a few days. That doesn't help. But we'll see. We'll see. Hey, the Marlins have done it to us before.
Yeah.
We all remember that.
Yeah.
We all remember that.
I'll
I
tell
still
you
think
what,
we can
though.
get there.
I'll tell you what. It's be very, very interesting your last 3 games because the Brewers have nothing to play for, but they're not exactly crazy about you. And I bet they don't want to play you. I bet they'd rather play the Marlins.
I think you're right. And I think, I was thinking about that at one of those moments as I tossed and turned last night. I was thinking that, you know what, they will probably throw everything they got at the Cubs in that last 3-game series.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour, and it is that time on a Thursday when we bring in our Bucs guy. He's only been our Bucs guy for, 20 years. It's no big deal or anything. He's Roy Cummings. Follow him on Twitter /X at rcummingsfhcn, rcummingsfhcn. Listen, we all need to be gentle with Roy. He's a Cubs fan. He's watched their bullpen blow 5 eighth-inning or later leads just in the last 2 weeks. So we will be gentle to start. Roy, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. As bad as the bullpen has been, if you've watched the games closely, which unfortunately I have, we're doing some strange things. Lost a game the other night because the guy couldn't catch a routine fly ball. The best double play combination in baseball, arguably, couldn't turn a double play last night. A flip over the shortstop's head. And then we had one of those moments where everybody's probably done this, where you hold on to the ball just a little because your brain is telling you don't throw it, and you're trying to throw it. The catcher throws one into left field, trying to throw out a runner stealing. Just like at one point, I just texted my twin brother and said, "What are we doing? What are we doing?" And it's the Cubs, man. It's the Cubs.
Well,
I love them.
And
I
it's
love them. I won't quit.
No, and Cubs fans never do. It was our story. It was our poll question yesterday. Will you ever divorce your team no matter how much they lose? And for a Cubs fan, that's a question you can't even ask.
Not a chip. But let me tell you, I've been through worse than this, guys. Been through much worse than this. Never will lose my my faith in that team.
Well, let's look back at the Bucs here. Monday night did not go well. And it didn't go well because they played a superior team. And this is kind of the question we've been asking. It was a game in which you found out really who the Bucs are. It doesn't mean they can't still win the division. It doesn't mean there can't be a lot of positive things going forward. But when you match up against an elite team, you saw at the line of scrimmage just where the Bucs are deficient.
Superbly said. I mean, that is it in a nutshell. We found out that the Bucs need to be a better run offense. They need to have a better run defense. They need to be better in the secondary. They need to get up to the court. They can't just harass the quarterback. They've got to get to him and take him down. They've got to be a little bit more proficient in every phase of the game. And we found out who they were the other night, and I'm not surprised. I think a lot of what everybody was concerned about with the Buccaneers was shown. Their weaknesses were exposed, and now you go to work. The unfortunate thing is right now they're pretty beat up, and mostly on the defensive side of the ball against, I guess it's good that Derek Carr is probably going to miss this game. We'll see what Jameis Winston can do against them and Taysom Hill. But right now, the Bucs got some challenges ahead of them.
How about that storyline, though? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Jameis. No, I mean, come on, think about it. Jameis was very unceremoniously thrown to the side of the road and then very ceremoniously replaced with the greatest quarterback in the history of the sport, who then leads them right away to a Super Bowl title.
Yeah.
And he has not played much in New Orleans. The current head coach clearly has no use for him.
Yeah.
Yet now he has to turn to him this week. And of all the teams that he has to turn to him against, it's the team that drafted him first overall. Roy, think about it. In your writing days, okay, Baker Mayfield and Jameis Winston are starting these games against each other for the teams they are playing for. That's a book onto itself.
Yeah, it really is, and especially with Jameis, it's and you know what you could see last week in a tight game. The Saints don't, at least last week, didn't seem to have any faith that Jameis could lead them. I mean, they really didn't give him anything, any opportunities to make plays and to even challenge the Packers secondary. And I think it cost them a game. I think they got very conservative, ridiculously conservative, and I think coaching cost them as much as anything in that game. Because they didn't try to tack on extra points. I mean, they were just, far too conservative. If they're that way this week, Bucs got a real good chance of winning this one. I don't care where it's played.
Well, it sounds like the Bucs are going to want to run the football more. I mean, Todd Bowles made the comments about Rachaad White. He's got to hit holes and kind of challenged him. So I would expect the Bucs to try to run the football more this week, Roy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I do. But you know what? In addition to Rachaad White hitting holes, he's got to have a hole. One of the reasons he's not hitting holes is because they're not there. It's not like they're opening up gaping holes for these guys. That it's closing down pretty quickly. Look, the Bucs continue to tell us how they're happy with Tristan Wirfs and Luke Gedeke. I don't think Wirfs has been bad at all, really, to be honest. And I was critical of the whole decision to move him over to the left side. And Gedeke's been okay. I don't think he's exceptional. But where those guys have not excelled, in my opinion, and the interior line especially has been weak, is in the run game. They're not pushing. They're not getting any push at all. I mean, there is nothing there. And I understand that Rachaad White is supposed to be one of those yards after contact guy, a guy who's going to get you something after he hits the pile. But they got to move the pile a little bit. They are being outmanned and just outpowered up front. Last week was obviously the best example of it yet.
RCB in our Twitch chat room pointed out right where I was going to go, which is, the only really good drive that the Bucs had in the game. They went a little bit up tempo. It just Baker in the shotgun. We're not going to be afraid to throw the ball early on downs. I mean, the Bucs do seemingly go an hour and a half, Roy, where they run it on 1st and 10 and 2nd and 8 every single time and say to Baker, okay, 3rd and 6, bail us out. I mean, But the one drive, they got down 3 scores and they finally said, we have to open this up a little bit. And guess what? They moved the ball. I'm wondering, do they need to maybe help the running game by letting Baker throw the ball earlier in the game?
Yeah, I think they do. And there's so many ways to do it, especially in Dave Canales' offense. And, I like the idea of bringing it up tempo a little bit. You know what? Maybe Dave Canales needs to go spend a little time with your next guest, Alex Golesh, and say, hey, how do we speed up the tempo here a little bit? How do we take advantage of that? Because I think that would help them. They've got to do something different. Because let's face it, the running game has just been not even ordinary. It hasn't been that good. And I still think the best player they've had offensively has been Baker Mayfield by far. And he's, last week they put him in positions where he had to try to make plays when there's nothing there. And I don't care who the quarterback is. When that happens, the quarterback more often than not is going to fail. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, Baker's got a rapport with Mike Evans. Is it too much? I mean, does he have to start moving the ball around a little bit? Because it seems like all the targets are, and you want to get Evans the ball. Don't get me wrong, but he's the only one. He's the only part of the receiving game. I think he's 50% of the receiving game right now.
Well, you're right. And I think there were a couple of times where he did throw into double coverages last week against Mike Evans. And I was like, okay, you probably could have found somebody different there. But again, how much time does he have? The time's been pretty good for the most part. I think they've done a better job, believe it or not, of protecting the quarterback and giving Baker Mayfield time to scan the field than I thought they would. But still, you might be favoring Mike Evans just a little bit. I think that comes from the, early in games and early in the season, when first game or so, where it was kind of like, it looked like he was really hitting Chris Godwin more. So I think he'll get more. Look, here's the thing. When you're comfortable with somebody and you're behind, you're going to go to the guy you're most comfortable with. We got to go back to what we just talked about with what David was saying. Distribute the ball early to the other targets. Force defenses to focus on them and open up the opportunities later in the game for the stars. That would be a good thing to do. They did it a little bit last week with Cade Otton. And I think you need to go a little bit more now to Trey Palmer and some of the others and see what you can do there. And you know what? Get the ball in the back. Get the ball in the backfield as well. Give it to Rachaad White out in the flat a little bit. Let him get out in some space. See what he can do out there.
He's Roy Cummings. He's our Bucs insider. You can follow him on Twitter /X at rcummingsfhcn, rcummingsfhcn. This is the game, Roy, that we circled back in the summer. Miller and Moulton did. This was the game in which, and we didn't know if they'd be 2-1 or 1-2, but we thought this was the game that's going to determine whether or not you're trading guys before the deadline or whether or not you're going to take this NFC South thing down to the end. Their secondary is a mash unit heading into this game, but the good news is they're playing the Saints passing game. But can they hold up? The Saints do have some weapons. It's what you talked about earlier. Are they actually going to let Jameis try to get the ball to them?
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, Jameis can still beat you. He's still got the arm. He's, and if he's ahead, if they use their running game wisely, the Saints can definitely take a lead here and hold on to it. But yeah, this is a very important game for them. I don't think you trade off of this, even if you lose it. Because let's face it, the division is up for grabs. I think it's proving to be what we thought it would be. Once all these teams face a little bit tougher competition and people start to figure them out, it'll all even out. I don't think you're going to see, 15-2 teams coming out of the NFC South. There's still going to be 8, 9, 10-win teams at best. But I still think that if you have any idea at all of going to the playoffs this year, you got to hold on to what you got. If you got something that's special, Mike Evans we're talking about, you got to hold on to it. It's the only way you're going to compete this year.
This game with the Saints, this is obviously for Jameis going to be big in these type of games. How much do you think the Saints will let him open it up? And I know you're covering the Bucs, but don't you think the Saints are going to let Jameis open this up? This is one of those revenge games. This is an opportunity. With the secondary is banged up, with Olave, I see Jameis throwing the ball deep in this game. Don't you?
I would, except that I watched the game last week and saw where they were afraid to let him throw it 15 yards downfield.
This coach does not like him. He has said those words. He could not bench him soon enough last year off a good performance. Dalton struggled. He never put him back in. They were talking about cutting him a month ago. Dennis Allen has no use for Jameis Winston.
And he has no use for him because he doesn't trust him. And if you don't trust your quarterback, look, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Taysom Hill's the guy most of the game. That very well could happen. That'd be the real wrench in the ointment here that would throw everybody off. Is everybody's pretty much expecting Jameis to play this game going against his old rivals, his old team here. What better motivation for him? But you know what? Don't be surprised if this becomes Taysom Hill's game. They very well may do that. Again, just watching the game last week, they had no interest at all in giving Jameis a chance to win that game. They lost the game because they don't trust Jameis Winston. And I think the same could happen this week. They don't trust him. They don't like him, like you said.
They play Taysom Hill, they're going to lose the game because the opportunity to beat the Bucs this week is throwing the football, not playing Taysom Hill. To me, I
agree. But again, I think there's a real tough dynamic going inside Allen's head right now. I don't think he really knows what to do. I know what he wants to do, but he probably knows he can't do that in order to win this game. He's going to have to put trust in a player that he doesn't trust. Jameis is going to have to earn his trust. This is where coaches have to become coaches. Somehow they've got to put together a good game plan against a weakened Bucs defense and figure out a way to pull it out with Derek Carr out of the game. So how do you do that? It's doable. Jameis Winston is not an idiot. He's a very smart quarterback. His problem has always been that he is put in positions where he's got to make plays that aren't there. And if you get him going early and give him plays that allow him to get some confidence and develop a little bit of a rhythm, he will definitely beat you. He can throw for 400 plus yards, and he very well may do it this week if the Saints give him a chance to do it.
Saints a 3-point favorite against the Bucs, 1:00 Sunday. Both teams 2-1. The winner will be at worst tied for first in the NFC South, maybe in first all alone. He is Roy Cummings. It is Roy Cummings against Felipe down the stretch for the 6th seed in the National League playoffs. Cubs against Marlins. The winner will be on the show next week. No, just kidding. Roy, Have a great rest of your week. Good luck agonizing with that bullpen.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Can't you just feel his head go down?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
He has no control over it, and he knows they're a mess. That's a huge stat. 5 losses by the bullpen from the 8th inning on in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Staggering. Mm-hmm. Well, they gave up a run in the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, and 2 in the 10th last night. Besides that, Mrs. Lincoln.
How was the play?
How's the bullpen?
Oh.
This is the Bucs' last game before their bye. Now, their secondary coach will love it because he's got a MASH unit back there. But, I mean, that's an early bye. And then they come out of it with Lions, Falcons, Bills, and the Bills on a short week on the road. Once again, how important is this game? The difference between 3-1, 2-2. Boy, you'd like that 3-1 cushion coming out of the bye.
Then you just have to get the Falcons, and you could be 4-3 losing games that you're going to be expected to lose.
Right. But if, like you said, if you beat New Orleans and beat Atlanta, then, you're doing okay, tiebreaker-wise. So, big game. We circled it months ago. We thought this was the key game to the Bucs season. We stand by that.
No doubt. Miller and Moulton. Roy Cummings every week to talk Bucs. Alex Golesh joins us every other week to talk South Florida football. He is coming up next on the show in the Great 8, and it is really a Great 8 with Keith Smith talking NBA and Dr. Roto taking your fantasy questions about 45 minutes from now.
Huh. Wow. That's not a bad show. That's Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network? Get out of town.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
You had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, Dead Chuck, that's a little early. Let me.
Our friends at USF are on hold. What is the most ideal bye week? Like, would you rather an early bye week or a late bye week? Or right smack in the middle? Uh-oh.
Oh, great. What else is new?
Thank you, Bob.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And we begin our great 8 hour on this Thursday with the South Florida football coach. Alex Golesh is kind enough to join us once again. You can follow him on Twitter/X at Coach Golesh, Golesh. Coach, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Well, we love having you on. Congratulations on the win over Rice. And we know that coaches are great at always moving forward. That one's in the rearview mirror. You can't even see it. If we could just go back for a second, what is it that your team did second half, fourth quarter, that maybe you hadn't seen them do yet before?
Yeah, I think really twofold. We've played about as hard as you can play for 4 weeks. I've been really proud of the effort. We've talked so much about playing harder for longer than our opponents, and I feel like we've been there. We haven't executed at a high level, especially in the fourth quarter. You look at every single game. Going into that game, we've scored 7 points in the fourth quarter total on the year, and defensively we've worn down and haven't been able to go finish football games. Going back to week 1, certainly week 2, and week 3 against Alabama. And so the focus has been more than anything about finishing. And I thought for the first time all year we did that. We finally offensively used the defense being worn out to our advantage. And then defensively, we went and got some stops in the second half and went and finished. So, honestly, I think in every imaginable way, it's a mindset. And it truly is just understanding what we're trying to do on both sides of the ball to where you could then use those guys being tired to your advantage as opposed to you being tired. And so, I was really proud of the finish. I thought we were locked in, and we just kept swinging and swinging and swinging, which we've done all year. I think at this point, they finally saw the results of just continuing to pound away at it. So I was really proud of that.
And, Coach, a lot of big plays in the game. It had to be nice to see the offense have some explosion plays. When you get those plays over 40 yards, it certainly takes a lot of burden off of your quarterback.
Yeah, we in every imaginable way feed off of the explosive plays. What we do offensively is designed to generate those. You don't want to force them, but inherently they get generated. And it's kind of the same story all year. We've had opportunities to go make them, and we haven't at a high clip until Saturday, where again we used our athleticism to our advantage and used our tempo to our advantage, and ended up with, I think, somewhere right around 21% of the plays were explosive, which is absolutely huge for us.
The significance emotionally, once again, coaches are much more emotionally stable than players. You guys can keep plowing and going forward. Players can go up and down, especially players, Coach, that have been there a little while. They haven't done a whole lot of winning, especially against a conference opponent like Rice. Just emotionally, you've been selling something for 8 months. Well, they're definitely buying now if they weren't before, right?
Yeah, I think for the most part, the guys that chose to stay, those guys bought in. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here, And I think the guys that came in that we recruited, they inherently bought in because they obviously chose to come here, and so I think you've got this inherent buy-in from everybody that's here. But no, you're absolutely right in terms of there hadn't been a whole lot of winning going on here, and so all you're selling is the truth, which is if we're process oriented as individuals and we're process oriented as a team, then the result will come if our process is right. And I know you've heard me talk about it over and over and over again, but I truly believe that to be the case, because then the emotion of winning, losing, adversity that comes your way, the positives, the negatives, the adversity doesn't hit you any sort of way, because you just continue to rely back on your process and revert back to your training. And you said men, but coaches aren't emotional and the kids are. I don't know if that's true. I think us as coaches have to continue to grow to become process oriented, and that's my job is to keep our staff that way and just continue to have a next play mentality, which we've preached since the moment we got here, and everything that we're doing. Just play the next one, man. Like whatever happened on the last one, play the next one. because the next one is more important than the last one. And so, I think if you can be process oriented and you can just continue to play the next play, then none of what's happened in the past and nothing happening in front of you matters. The only thing that matters is the moment that you're in. And I think it's hard enough as adults to live that way, let alone when you're young, but we're slowly but surely understanding that. And, all of it, you've got to manage in terms of what the morale and what the motivation of the team is, because now, as you said, you sense a little bit of success. In a lot of ways, sometimes it's harder to handle than not. And so now resetting and taking all the emotions of everything out of it and saying, all right, now we get to play again on Saturday. So we just play the next play again. And so that's a challenge to us. That's part of growing up. That's part of growing within a program. And it's part of using your previous experiences to continue to grow.
Your run defense has been pretty solid, and it's going to get tested this week. We know kind of what Navy's all about. And when you talk about effort, I don't know if there's, when you play the academies, I don't know if there's a team that has the next play mentality more than our service academies of kids that are going to come out and play hard every single play. Kind of know what you're getting with Navy, don't you?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're going to get tested on if you're going to play harder for longer than your opponent in this one. We in every imaginable way have played really good run defense. We gave up a yard last week. We were at negative yards going into the last drive and ended up giving up 2 yards. So Coach Orlando's pissed off. I was happy with the 1 yard, but absolutely, you're going to get tested on if you can just keep swinging, because the one thing Navy will do will just continue to pound it right down your throat. And so, can we be disciplined in defending the triple option? Can we be disciplined when they take shots down the field? And can we be disciplined in terms of being able to play the next play? Because it's a physical deal. It's a grueling deal, certainly within the line of scrimmages. And so it's going to be a huge test for us, regardless of record, regardless of anything. You got to go on the road and win in the conference, which is really hard to do at any place. And it's certainly a huge challenge as we go into this one, because you know what you're going to get. So it's exciting because you know what you're going to get. 2, it's going to demand a lot of us being disciplined and having a next play mentality. So I'm excited to see it. All of this week to week for me is very much a test for us in terms of where we are as we continue to grow and build. And I'm not naive to the fact that all of these are new situations that we're going through as a team, certainly going through as a program. But I'm excited because we have worked extremely hard to prepare ourselves to go have games like this to give us a chance to go be successful.
A lot of times, pretend we're beat writers here for a second. You're a month into the season, you're 2-2. We would probably do something this week where we would issue our, quarterly report card, if you will. Take a step back for a moment. 2-2, you know how you've played each week against the level of competition you've done it against. What are you thinking? How are you feeling about your program heading into, I know it'll be the last day of September, but, heading into conference play on the road, how you feel about how things are going?
Yeah, I really try to look at it from a week by week standpoint. I understand the job to say, man, where are we at through 4? I really look at it as where are we at today. And then in January you go back and you really evaluate what the heck happened. But I feel like we're growing, and I'm really proud of us growing. And I say that humbly in the sense that we're playing extremely hard on all 3 sides of the ball. We're continuing to get better each week. We have played better and better on all 3 sides of the ball each week. And I see the buy-in of our program, and we're not perfect. There's days where you're like, man, what in the world are these guys thinking? And there's days where you're like, man, these guys have got it figured out. But that's the emotional roller coaster of what a season is. And my job is to continue to control the messaging, continue to control the effort of what goes on within our walls. But I continue to see growth. And if you can use a word, that would be it. We're growing in terms of our effort, our execution, schematically, and where we are in terms of how we show up and compete like crazy every single week. So growth would be the word. I continue to see us become a better program, and within that, becoming a better team. And so that's all I want to do is get better every single week and continue to take lessons that we learn and grow from them. And so I would give us a for effort, and I would give us an A for growth, and I would give us somewhere probably around a C for execution, because there's so many plays left out there where you're like, man, if we're in the right spot at the right time, we have a chance to change the outcome of the game. And so if we continue to learn and grow from those moments, I think we'll have a chance to have a bunch of success.
The 2-2 Bulls of South Florida heading to Navy. Midshipman coming off a bye. 3:30 Saturday on CBS Sports Network if you're interested. He's Alex Golesh. He's the head coach of South Florida. Follow him on Twitter/X at Coach Golesh, Golesh. Coach, thanks for making time for us. We really appreciate it. Safe travels. Best of luck. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you for having me on. Go Bulls. Appreciate y'all.
Navy 1-2. We all remember they opened with Notre Dame in Ireland. They got thumped. Then they played a team that they should have routed, and they did. But 2 weeks ago, Mark, they went to Memphis, and they were tied in the fourth quarter. They lost a close one to a Memphis team that's 3-1, whose only loss is at Missouri by a touchdown.
Well, with the game South Florida had last week, and really against Alabama, because Alabama didn't run the ball all that well against them, they are the 36th best team in the country against the run. Less than 100 yards a game are their opponents getting rushing the football, and Navy likes to run the ball. That's all they do. So this is the old styles make a fight, and we'll see how South Florida does against Navy on Saturday.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. The vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. Call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Sir Michael Gambon, who famously played Dumbledore in Harry Potter, has passed away at the age of 82.
Okay.
Who?
Sir Michael Gambon.
Okay.
Dumbledore. Rest in peace, Dumbledore.
Yeah, Dumbledore means nothing to me.
I know. Just for all the nerds out there who like Harry Potter.
My wife would know who it is. She's read all the books.
Dr. Roto in 20 minutes. If anybody wants to ask a fantasy question.
Is it okay if I ask Keith if the Blazers benefited by adding Ayton to this team? And if they could have gotten more, what that could have been?
Well, we're not going to have a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a short segment.
Yeah. And to be honest, I don't think anybody, there are 3 people listening who care about how this affects the Blazers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No, they're not.
There's one.
No, there's not.
There's one, and it's me.
No. There's not 3.
Mark's going under on 2.5. Under on 2.5.
See, Hovland had a hole-in-one on a par 4 yesterday.
Really?
5th hole's drivable, and he aced it in the practice round.
That's cool.
I like that there's apparently 3 par 4s that are drivable on this golf course.
Oh, might as well make it a fun course, right?
Yeah. They're
make it
playing
exciting.
ball. They're playing alternate shot.
Totally. Let's do this.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. A reminder, Dr. Roto, in a little more than 15 minutes time, start submitting, whether it's in our Twitch chat room or texting at 21,000, your questions for Dr. Roto in a little more than 15 minutes time. Our poll question simply, who's going to win the Ryder Cup, the U.S. or Europe? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Florida Sports Network, and floridasportsnetwork.com to cast your vote. He covers the NBA for spotrac.com. He's also part of YouTube's NBA front office show. He is Keith Smith. You can follow him on Twitter/X at Keith Smith NBA. Keith, it's David and Mark once again. Hope you and the family are well. How are you?
We're doing great. Thank you for having me.
All right. Lillard, not to Miami, to Milwaukee. Go. Your thoughts?
Yeah, an absolute blockbuster of a trade, especially considering, training camp is less than a week away. We don't generally see trades this big at this time of year. But, for the Bucs, this was Giannis had put them on notice of, hey, I know we're going to be good this year, but I want to be good this year, the year after that. And he really wants them to keep making moves. And they made the biggest move they could possibly make with Damian Lillard. And, yeah, they traded defense for offense, but they're going to be right at the top of the list for title favorites for this year and probably for the next couple years at least as these guys, pair together. And then, if you're the Bucs too, you kept them from going to conference rivals, which was a big thing for them as well. So, they come away looking pretty good here. Portland did well in this trade. It's always hard to trade a star. You're almost always going to come up on the short end of the stick. We'll also see what they do with Drew Holiday. Something's going to happen there, as a secondary part of this. And then Phoenix, that part's a little bit more questionable. I'm not fully sold on what they did.
All right, let's just look at this from who lost. In Miami, where we sit, lost. Did they lose that badly? And why, at the end of the day, were they unable to get the trade done? Because it's where Lillard wanted to go. Was Miami too stubborn with what they were offering?
I don't know that Miami was too stubborn. I just think it was really difficult for them to find a path to a deal. There was no direct two-team trade between Portland and Miami that made sense, because for Portland, Tyler Hero does not make sense for them, not with where they're going as a franchise, with the fact that they already have 3 young guards under contract that they really like, that they're invested in developing. So there had to be a third team for Tyler Hero. And I think what ultimately it came down to was that those third teams, there are teams interested in Tyler Hero, to be sure, but they weren't going to give up, enough to juice the package to turn it into a 3-team trade. So, yeah, I think Miami loses out a little bit here, but I'm not going to criticize them too much because I'm just not sure how much more they could have done. Where I will criticize them is it feels like they're off season. They put an awful lot of eggs in the Damian Lillard basket, and I don't know that they did enough to be prepared to be a good enough team to get all the way to the finals and finish the job without Damian Lillard. And that part I will knock them a little bit for.
Keith Smith of spotrac.com, and the NBA front office show on YouTube. Follow him on Twitter/X at Keith Smith NBA. Well, Keith, what they had to offer for Lillard is pretty much what they have to offer for Drew Holiday. I'm not sure it's enough for Drew Holiday, to be honest. I mean, I think I can rattle off 5 teams and what they'll offer Portland for Holiday that's more than what Miami can offer.
Yeah, I think we're back in a similar position, because to get Drew Holiday, it's going to have to be Tyler Hero or Kyle Lowry as the primary salary matching piece. And your draft pick situation is exactly the same. The young players you can add into the package are exactly the same. And that means we're back to got to find a third team that wants Kyle Lowry or wants Tyler Hero. So that becomes, just as tricky a proposition to put together. I think, for Miami, I think we're a little bit towards the what you see is what you get kind of position with their roster. They'll do some stuff around the back end of the roster and a couple tweaks here and there, and maybe elevate one of the two-way guys or something like that. Maybe a guy like Jamal Cain. And, as I jokingly said, that guy will probably turn out to be someone who's, winning playoff games for them later this spring. And we'll all be like, how do they keep doing it? But, yeah, I don't know that they're going to be involved in a major trade, at least not right now. This could be something that carries into the season and goes down the line for the Heat.
With this move, are the Bucs the favorite to win the East? Are they the favorite to win the NBA title? What does this make the Milwaukee Bucks?
I'm still going to say Denver is the favorite to win the title. I think, we've all kind of skipped over the Nuggets a little bit because they didn't do anything flashy. There's nothing really new there. They're just, bringing back the same team that won the championship. And I think some people have overlooked Denver rolled through the playoffs. They were really not challenged all that much, but did play some pretty good teams despite the fact that they, handled their business very easily. So I'm still going to keep them as the favorite. But I do think Milwaukee's probably the favorite in the East now. I think, we'll see if one of these East teams, especially Boston, can come away with Drew Holiday. I would say that would, kind of reflip that back their way, but it's going to be tight at the top of the East between Milwaukee and Boston. I think everybody else is kind of in chase mode behind those two right now.
With Portland clearly going to trade Drew Holiday, can the Sixers get involved with Harden where it becomes a three-way trade where, Harden's not going to end up in Portland, but they can, that match up salaries and then, get the third team in like they did with Phoenix. Can Philly get involved here and unload Harden and maybe get Holiday?
Yeah, they absolutely could. Drew Holiday is one of the guys that was rumored to be someone Philadelphia was looking at with this whole cap space plan for next summer. So we could see something there. We know James Harden, he wants to get to the Clippers, but the Sixers didn't seem overly interested in what the Clippers could offer them. So maybe you do have something where, hey, the Clippers are out a couple things and a pick or two to Portland. That gets them Harden. If Drew Holiday ends up in Philly, that could be a thing. I've seen a lot of people kind of piecing those dominoes together a little bit. We'll see if that happens. But, it's going to be something that we're going to be keeping an eye on here because it sounds like Portland is motivated to move Drew Holiday sooner rather than later. It sounds like they want to get this thing wrapped up probably by the end of this week if they can. So that may be, something that comes together very, very quickly.
Giannis raised his hand and said, I'm not signing an extension until you get me help. How long before Embiid does the same thing in Philly?
Yeah, not very long, I don't think. I think if they don't come away with something for James Harden and this season turns into a mess, I think you're going to have Joel Embiid basically saying, what are we doing here? Like, he's not going to rip Tyrese Maxey and other guys on the roster, but I think he's going to basically indirectly say, we don't have enough, and I don't want to do this. I don't want to be punting years of my career. Joel Embiid is 30 now. He's going into either year 10 or 11, and I think a lot of people, because he missed so much time early, think he's still 26, 27, and only in year 7 or 8. But that's not where we're at anymore with him. He's been in the league for a long time, and he's looking at it and saying, hey, I want to win one. I've won an MVP. I want to get a title, and if we're not getting it done here, then it's time for me to think about being somewhere else.
Keith, thanks for making time for us, particularly on short notice. We appreciate it. Continued success with Spot Rack. By the way, the most in-depth breakdown of the blockbuster trade is Keith Smith on spotrac.com, spotrac.com. Please read it. Follow Keith on Twitter/X at Keith Smith NBA. Keith, all the best.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
It's also part of the NBA Front Office show on YouTube. Does a very good job. And he's been good to us over the years.
He's been very good to us, and we just did an NBA segment in September.
I know, which, by the way, when did they do the deal? Wednesday. All leagues should take notice during football season. When do you make your news? Wednesday.
Get your questions in. Dr. Roto to answer your fantasy football questions. That's next.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples.
BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, when you did media, did you ask the hockey players, how do you pronounce your name?
Yep.
Because it's amazing to me. Because if you go back and look at Texas A&M, media guides and what have you, they had it as A-Chain. Okay. Dolphins up until Sunday, Monday had it as A-Chain. He scores 4 touchdowns. He says, I'm going to take the time to set the record straight. It's A-Chan.
That's not the first time that's happened, though. I will say, there was a goalie, and you remember Bob Froze?
Yeah.
When he played in Saginaw, he was Bob Frozy.
Frozy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, he never questioned it. Played there for 2-3 years, ended up, making his way up, played for Boston. Right. He was Bob Froze. I'm like, you weren't Bob Froze when you played in Saginaw. All risk, by the way, you got to give. Should you start him over whom? If you're going to ask Roto a question, it's got to be an A or a B.
Also, aren't you asking, should I start A-Chan? Who's that guy you were asking about? Arcane? Who's that? I've never heard of that. You meant A-Chan, right?
That's what I think.
Yeah. Oh, Dolphin, that's a question right there. That's detailed. That's I got to admit, 86, just for how it sounds on the radio and what have you, it's usually better if it's an either or, but
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Dr. Roto scheduled to join us shortly to answer your fantasy football questions, and many of you have them lined up, ready to go. Hoping to talk to the good doctor coming up here in a moment. Our poll question, Ryder Cup gets underway, and it gets underway in 17 hours, 1:30 in the morning. Who you like to win? Not who you're rooting for. Who you picking? U.S. or Europe? Mark's picking the U.S., which he doesn't normally do. I'm picking Europe, which I don't normally do. Mark's been hotter with his picks in September. Just saying.
Not by much. Not by much.
I'm coming on strong, but you've been hot. 3 winning weeks in a row and what have you. Never mind if we count Tuesdays and Mondays. I mean, my goodness, you'd be swimming in money. So he is Dr. Roto, SiriusXM's Fantasy Sports Radio. Also Dr. Roto, DRROTO.com. And that's how you follow him on Twitter /X at DRROTO. Good morning, Doc. You ready?
I am ready. Week 4. Hopefully people are not 0-3 out there, but we really don't want to be 0-4.
Well, listen, I'm just going to throw one in underhanded, but I actually think it's a decent question. So after last week, what are you doing with Dolphins? Are you going crazy? You stacking 5 of them? I mean, no, seriously, what do you do now after you've seen the Dolphins offense for 3 weeks?
You buy your Dolphins jerseys and you revere them for as long as you possibly can. They look terrific. And I think what happens is they've got they did that without Waddle, right? That was what's so amazing. Now, it becomes a little complicated because we saw them against a bad Broncos team, a team that looks like it's lost. And so I'm not saying Miami is not a really good team. They are. But let's see how it looks like this week against the Bills, right? Because the Bills aren't giving up in this game. But Achan is special. We've been waiting for this. He's got this burst that's really, really, really different. I mean, that when I say special, it's, you can just see it. Like he's seeing the field. He's hitting holes that other guys aren't even seeing. Like Najee Harris hasn't hit a hole in 2 years, right? And you can just watch the plays. So you've got Mostert, you've got Achan, and now all of a sudden you've got Tyreek who's playing at another level. Now Waddle's back. There's a lot of weapons there. And, of course, so long as Tua is healthy, you start every Dolphin you can. Now, will I start Jeff Wilson when he comes back? Probably not. Am I starting Smythe? Probably not. But I think the 4 guys I mentioned, or the 5 guys, including Tua, you're starting.
All right, let's get to some of the questions. Rachaad White, Pacheco, or Kenneth Walker III? Who are you starting?
Pacheco's a tough one. I mean, obviously they're going to beat the Jets, but you just never know how the Chiefs are going to do it. So, I mean, I've got him in a lot of leagues. I was in on him, but I feel a little, I guess the word is tepid. I'm okay with it. It's an okay start. It's not fantastic. White is just getting a lot of bulk. He's not really being very productive, but he's getting exactly the touches that I said he would at the Summit, right? He was one of the first players we talked about. I said, he's probably 15 points a week, and if he gets a touchdown, he's 21. So, I think he's always in play against the New Orleans defense that's going to be coming at them pretty hard. So I think I would go with him. Walker, look, the Giants are a mess. I'm not so much worried about Charbonnet stealing Walker's carries. Walker seems to get the good, important carries. So my guess is Walker and White.
Well, you mentioned the Saints. Kamara's coming back this week. You playing him?
I'm playing him. I think that the guys I like in that game, I like Kamara. I think Jameis, I love a good revenge narrative. I think he's an interesting play. I think Olave is a very good play. We never play Mike Evans against Marshawn Lattimore, but I love Chris Godwin. I think Godwin's in a good place. But look, the Saints at home are a good team, and the Saints should have won last week, by the way. They just blew that game, and I don't want to blame Jameis, but that team just felt lost. And man, they need Kamara badly, right? They just don't have a running back there to give us some of the ball to kill some clock and get some important yards. It's not Tony Jones, it's not Kendra Miller, and Jamal Williams is injured. So Kamara is going to be really important to that team.
All right, Tank Dell, my hero from DraftKings a week ago, or Adam Thielen? Who do you like in full PPR?
Yeah, I like Thielen against Minnesota. That's another revenge narrative, which we like. I think my problem in that game is Bryce Young, to be quite honest with you. Andy Dalton looked really good. But, you have to commit to Bryce Young. You can't commit to a 48-year-old Andy Dalton. So you play him in spots. But, man, that was an impressive start. But, look, Bryce Young has to be able to find Thielen. The Minnesota Vikings run defense is actually decent. See what they did against Josh Kelly last week. See what they did against White in week 1. So, I think that Miles Sanders is not going to have a big day, so I think it has to come from Thielen. Listen, I told you guys about Tank Dell before. I've been on Tank Dell for weeks now, not last week, weeks. He's good. But the Steelers are a tough defense, and this doesn't feel like the Tank Dell bust-out week.
Well, Tank Dell's part of a third wide receiver, half PPR question. Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, or Addison?
Right. So I like Addison a little bit. I think that Carolina Minnesota game feels like it's going to be higher scoring than people think. Right. That was like last week's Denver Miami game. No, nobody thought about a 90-point total. But if you looked at a game and you said, which game do I think is going to bust? Looks like it's not going to score a lot according to Vegas, but actually will. I feel that way about Minnesota, Carolina. I think these teams will throw and will score. So, Addison is in play. Hard to be in on Zay Flowers. I think Lamar Jackson looks terrible as a passer. He just does. He looks terrible. But I love Zay Flowers. But against Cleveland, that's a tough ask.
D-Hop or Mike Evans? Who are you starting?
I don't start Mike Evans on the road against New Orleans. I just don't. I'll find a way to get Hopkins in my lineup. Cincinnati's not very good. I think Joe Burrow will be better this week. I think it'll be hard not to be better against Tennessee, but I think Hopkins is in play.
Deadstruck has Jamar Chase, so he's wondering, stack him with Burrow or play Tua?
Look, if there was a week to play Burrow with Chase and stack your Bengals, this is the week. Look what every team does against the Titans. Now, what's interesting is Vegas only has the Bengals at a 21, 22-point total. So they're saying there could be yards in this game. They're just not saying it's a lot of touchdowns. But, look, if there's 3 touchdowns, it's not going to be by Joe Mixon. Maybe one is, but you're not going to run on the Titans. So if there's a 21-point total, either Evan McPherson's kicking a bunch of field goals or Joe Burrow's throwing 2 touchdowns.
Usually I don't ask the general questions that come in on the text line, but I will for this gentleman who says, for the good doctor, I'm 1-2, should be 3-0, and gives us reasons why, but played fantasy baseball for years, my first foray into football. What are the keys to choosing the right player for the right week? That's why we have you on every week, Doc.
Yeah, no, great question. So I think you're looking at the matchups, first of all, right? I think you're looking, I look at a stat, which is like defense against position. It just shows how teams are doing against a certain position. So, for example, the Houston Texans are not very good against opposing tight ends.
So you see that the Texans are like one of the 3 or 4 worst teams. And then you say, all right, who are the Texans playing? Oh, they're playing the Steelers. Oh, Pat Freiermuth is a tight end. Now I like that guy as a start, right? That's always a good place. I'm always looking at the team. I'm looking at Vegas totals. Like, how many points does Vegas think a team is going to have? Like I told you, that Vegas thinks the Bengals are going to have 22 points, give or take, right? And then I know you're not going to run against the Titans. So you kind of start there. Look at the point totals. Look at the defense against positions. Look at the matchups. At some point, you're always going to start your studs, but like your third receiver, your second running back, your tight end, that's when you can make your decisions, and hopefully the right ones.
He's Dr. Roto, drroto.com, drroto.com, and that's how you follow him on Twitter/X at Dr. Roto, drroto. He joins us every Thursday at this time. Okay, music in our Twitch chat room. Doc wants to know, what wide receiver would you grab to replace Mike Williams? He has McKinnon already as his third wide receiver.
He is who?
McKinnon is what he said. I
Derek
don't
McKinnon?
know. I don't know. That's what he said.
Well, first, let's just talk about that situation. I like Josh Palmer today, but I don't know if I like him 3 weeks from now. I think he's definitely going to be the starter. They look for him. But Quentin Johnston is Mike Williams. He's just all right, this was the analogy I gave to my son. Josh Palmer's a 4-year-old horse. He's good. He's solid. He's done well. Right? He maybe won a couple of races, but Quentin Johnston's that 2-year-old colt that is finding his way, right? Maybe he's going to be a Kentucky Derby threat down the road. So that's the guy maybe by week 9 and week 10 is going to explode, but Josh Palmer's the guy that's going to help you today. So keep your eyes on Palmer. I like Rashee Rice a lot. Last week he missed 2 touchdowns by literally got stopped on the 1-yard line twice. If he scores those 2 touchdowns, he's everybody's number 1 pick off waivers. So I think those two, Palmer and Rice right now, I think are solid plays who are probably out there.
Question on the text line. Would you trade Mozart for Waddle or Christian Watson?
I hate those questions because they're in vacuums, right? Because, of course, we always say, well, who are your other quarterbacks? Who are your other running backs? Who are your other receivers, right? I don't know your team. Would I trade Mozart for Waddle? Yes, right? Because if you've got a Chan there and you've got Wilson coming back soon, you're trading Mostert at his highest peak ever. And if you're getting Waddle, you do it. Christian Watson, I like, but man, that team, we have to see what that team looks like with Watson. I'm interested in this game tonight. Watson should be back. Aaron Jones should be back. Dobbs is there. Musgrave is there. Jordan Love has looked really good in spots, but he's also missed a bunch of receivers. So I want to see him play a little better too.
He's also going to be, I think, without 2 offensive linemen, so he's going to get his weapons back. I don't know about his blockers. Dolphin has a 1-point PPR flex question. Of the 3, Ayuk, Najee, or Dameon Pierce? Well, it can't be Najee, right? He's been MIA for over a year.
Yeah, when you watch some guys and it happens, and Najee to me is, I'm just using horse metaphors today. I feel very degenerate. He's not a thoroughbred. He's a plotter. He's a mutter. Who wants a mutter out there? I want a thoroughbred. I mean, this guy's killing me out there. Can't find the hole to save his life. Jalen Warren at least has a twitch to him. Najee's got nothing. So I'm not playing him. Dameon Pierce is okay, but if they're not winning, he's not playing. Now, the interesting thing is I think the Steelers' run defense is susceptible because they're so busy trying to sack the quarterback. They may be susceptible to the run a little bit. And if Pierce can get past that first layer, right, that first point of contact, which he does better in the NFL, he might get some big chunk runs this week. I don't hate him at all.
You got a DFS sleeper for us, Doc?
I was on Tank Dell a couple of weeks ago. I was on Josh Downs last week, wasn't I?
Yes.
I'll give you a sleeper. I think I'll give you 2. I think Dalton Kincaid wakes up this week. And I think he does something. We haven't seen him hit the end zone. I think he does. And then here's a guy who's just really, the team is wretched, but maybe Roshan Johnson does something. I think I'm ready for Roshan time.
Give me a guy people are hanging on to that you've already cut loose.
You mean like Najee Harris?
Well, right. I figured we've already covered that. I figured there has to be one more in the league.
Only one more in the league? Maybe, yeah, I'm sure you're right about that. I think I'm looking at some tight ends here. I'm done with David Njoku. I'm done with Juwan Johnson. But the problem is when you're done with these guys, all of a sudden they pop up and they rear their ugly head and do something decent. I'm going to give you something that I wrote about yesterday on drroto.com. Breece Hall has the worst next 4 weeks. He has Kansas City, he's got Denver, he's got Philadelphia, and then he's got a bye. Okay? You're going to hate him. But after that, he's going to be good. So keep your eye on Breece Hall, but I'm also done with Dalvin Cook.
He's Dr. Roto. He mentioned his website, drroto.com, drroto.com. You can listen to him Saturday mornings on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio and follow him on Twitter/X at Dr. Roto, DRROTO. Doc, thanks for making a house call.
Appreciate you guys. Good luck this week.
Dr. Roto. How you doing, by the way? You haven't talked about it because it makes for bad radio, but this is a fantasy segment, so you got 10 seconds. How you doing?
I'm 1-2. First week loss was the coach's problem. GM drafted a good team. Coach played the wrong guys.
Okay.
And we just got beat by a better team last week. Nothing you can do when a team lights you up.
Okay. So it sounds like you're okay with where you are, and you blame yourself for being 1-2.
I will say I did, I'm with my son and a lot of his friends. They had 30 seconds in between draft picks. I was a total mess on the computer. I felt like the old guy times 11 in that one. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District.
Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I was a mess. First off, I like a live draft. I like a slow 3-hour in-person draft. I prefer that. But 30 seconds, I was a wreck. I couldn't even keep up. I demanded that the hockey draft's at least a minute.
By the way, Roto had the phone in his hand the whole time. And I said to him, I go, hey, this is not the first time. This happens more than you would imagine, where we call and people are like, what do you mean you called? Oh, we called. He goes, no, I was sitting here.
That's why I just told him to keep calling.
Yeah. So, and Felipe, because you've called people right back and then they answer. I mean, I'm telling you that phone system, which, by the way, is the same phone system that Miller and Moulton used 20 years ago. But it's.
By the way, not last week, but the week before, when they finally switched it where we need to log in with the whole duo shit. One of Beasley's technicians came in here, took one look at all the computers in here and said, yeah, these are really old.
It's all right. I happened to be listening to the afternoon show yesterday. They bring Joe Winter on for a segment. Not joking. That was a guest.
British poet Joe Winter?
Yep, that's the one. That's a dynamite drop in right there. Hey, what's your day later?
Me?
Yeah.
Pretty wide open.
Okay. I may need to call you.
Okay.
I'm having a hell of an allergy day. It's the worst allergy day I've had this month. Not that I know of, RCB. What's it happened this morning? That's a pretty good show. I think so. And 4 guests in a row.
Here we go.
9 a.m.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Please tell me you have gone into the Diamond District this week and negotiated with either Todd or Jason. It really doesn't matter which one. One guy's a huge Dolph fan and the other guy's a huge Buckeyes fan. This was your week. They're vulnerable. Take advantage of them.
It's all we ask. When you stop in the store, take advantage of the owners and get the best deal that you can. You can use our names. We don't mind.
Yes. You could go in and
prefer
say,
you
hey,
do.
Miller and Moulton told me you guys are vulnerable this week. You're drunk with happiness, and I'm going to get a deal because of it.
Fins up. Jason, fins up.
Right. Listen, we had such a jam-packed show. Do you know what we have not done? We have not even talked about the Thursday night NFL game tonight. That's tonight, you know. That's how busy this week's been.
Well, when we get NBA trades like this in September, we stop everything, David.
Listen, Adam Silver gets some things really wrong, but that memo that he sent out that said, listen, if we're going to make news in the fall, we have to do it on a Wednesday. Have to do it not even on Tuesday. They're still talking about Monday Night Football. ESPN's still talking about the Jets and or Cowboys. All right. If you do something, you got to do it on a Wednesday.
The Detroit Lions are a Thursday night road favorite at Green Bay.
Tell you, this is some sports year, man. This is crazy. The Marlins may make the playoffs, and the Lions are a road favorite on a short week in a division game. Damn. And let's be honest. You'll be disappointed if they don't win. And not the normal, oh, man, it would have been nice. No. You'll be like, wait a minute. We're the better team. Why did we not win?
Do you know the Lions have won 3 straight against Green Bay? I mean, that in and of itself is surprising.
So they won the last meeting in 2021, and they swept them last year.
Correct.
And remember, the last meeting last year was the final game of the season. The Lions had been eliminated from the playoffs earlier in the day, and they went out and made sure to knock the Packers out of the playoff and make it Aaron Rodgers' last game in Green Bay. And they were very proud of themselves when they did that. Finished the season off by winning 8 of 10. They're 2-1. What's their only loss? Overtime to Seattle. I mean, you know, Mark, the last time they were on the road, I mean, they were home last week, right? Beat Atlanta at home last week, right?
Yes, they were at home.
So their only road game this week, they won at Kansas City. I mean, if they won at Kansas City, they can win in Green Bay, right? I do have a question, though. So the Jahmyr Gibbs guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, the guy they drafted, 12th overall, a running back, Alabama, right? Wasn't he supposed to be in their offense what the 3rd round pick of the Dolphins was last week for the Dolphins? Isn't that basically what they've said the moment they drafted him? It's like lightning fast. We're going to put him out there. Nobody's going to be able to cover him. It's going to take our offense to a whole new level. I mean, basically, wasn't he supposed to be Devon Achane?
100%. You can put him in the slot. You can put him in the backfield. You can move him around and do a lot of different things with him.
And nobody can cover him, right? How big of a factor is he in their offense right now?
Not nearly what he should be.
I mean,
he is doing a nice job running the football, but he got more of the carries last week as Montgomery was banged up.
Right. So he's been good, right?
He's been good. I mean, he has been. He's been catching balls. He's catching 3 balls a game. He's running
10 times a game.
I mean, he's getting 15 touches a game right now.
Okay. All right. They did draft him 12th overall, though.
They did.
And they said that basically, listen, this guy's going to be a weapon that's going to change our offense. Trust us on this. Now, I like their other picks. I love I love the tight end. They traded Hawkinson for a reason. I love Laporta. I love the linebacker from Iowa. Don't get me, but I mean, 12th overall pick of the draft. I mean, they were right there. They could have reached out and gotten the big lineman from Georgia. In fact, they were in draft position to take the big lineman from Georgia and moved out and then took this guy. Now, if this guy looked like Devon Achane last week, we'd all be saying, wow, the Lions are smarter than the rest of us. They're becoming the new Tampa Bay Rays. But, I mean, that's kind of, I'm looking at them going, got to admit, you passed on some pretty damn good players. Take this guy, move down and take this guy 12. I mean, he better start looking like Devon Achane here soon. I'd look at the offensive coordinator and going, is there any reason why our guy's not looking like their guy?
I think having a Hill and a Waddle, even I know Waddle didn't play, there's more speed on Miami, and he's still learning. But I'm with you that with Montgomery banged up, he's got to take the next step, and they're going to need that tonight. I agree 100%.
And yes, Green Bay has gotten younger and faster in the last year and a half. They are. Mark, they're not a fast team. I mean, in theory, and I know it's at Lambeau and everyone's slower on that grass and all that, but still, I mean, Detroit's the more explosive team on paper. They got the better quarterback. They should win. They should.
Yes, they should win.
They should win. And if they do, I mean, are they playing for the NFC North tonight?
No.
Really? Really?
Oh, you think they like tonight they won the division?
If they win, look at the other two teams are 0-3. If they win tonight in Green Bay, so they're a game ahead of the Packers, the only other team with a pulse right now in that division, and they've beaten them at their place.
I will say, David, if they get this game tonight, they host Carolina, long week of rest. That's a game that you should mark down as a win.
Yes.
They go to the Bucs, also a game that if you're a legit team, you should win. Then you go to the Ravens.
Okay, and they'll be favored at Tampa.
Right, and then they host the Raiders before the bye. That's their October. Carolina, at Tampa, at Baltimore, home for Las Vegas.
So you're basically saying right now, hey, if this is the team that we thought they would be, they're 6-2 at the bye.
Bingo.
They win tonight. They win in Carolina. So, let me do the math here. 3-1, 4-1, beat the Bucs 5-1, lose to the Ravens, beat the Raiders 6-2 at the bye.
Yes.
I'm telling you right now, they win tonight, the NFC North's over. Over. It's over. Bring out the check mark, the X, whichever one it is.
Put the hat on?
You might as well hand out hats and T-shirts walking off the field. They win tonight. They've won the NFC North. When's the last time they won the North? Like 93? Ooh, that could be a Ryder Cup omen right there. Huh? Because I think the last time the Lions won the North was 93. When's the last time the U.S. won on the road in the Ryder Cup? 93. Do you believe in the gods, the sports gods? Just saying. Could be an omen. Does the outcome of the Lions-Packers game determine who you bet on in the Ryder Cup, which starts about 2 hours after the football game ends?
Boy, you're right there. You asked what I was doing during the day today. I'm taking a nap. I just realized I've got to take a huge nap to get ready for football into golf.
Now, here's the deal. Can you take the perfect nap where you nap in between the football and golf? You don't go to sleep, but you nap. So you settle down after the game. You calm down. Make sure you get yourself head on the pillow by 11:30. Get your 2 hours. Bang!
I'm going to need 2 hours this afternoon, 2.5 hours tonight, but I can do this.
Okay, so is that your perfect time frame? We all know what the amount, if you sleep 10 minutes more than that, that's sleep. That's not a nap. You're up. Okay, so it's got to be a nap.
You've got me excited now. The Lions can win the division tonight.
Absolutely.
Did not know in September a division was on the line, but upon further review, David, you may be on to something.
Come on, tell me right now. And Mark, I don't have a lot of money left in my savings account. I've spent it all on my brand new kitchen, which is being built, which of course we don't use.
Which you'll never use.
Cook. Right. But that's for another stay. So with the money that I have left, $137, okay, if I give it all to you, if the Lions win tonight, would you bet on them that they're going to win the North?
Yes.
It's over. It's done. Honestly, it's done. I mean, can't we? The Chiefs have already won the West, right? I mean, are we willing to declare that? They only have a one-game lead in the standings, but, you know, the Raiders are the Raiders. The Broncos are a train wreck. And, well, the Chargers are the Chargers. I mean,
know you say that. Don't they have to beat the Chargers once first before you can give them the division?
Okay, that's fair enough. If you're not willing to put the X or the check mark, fine. We can go division by division. We're not going to award a champion in the South, okay, because apparently Jacksonville's having an out-of-body experience. Not going to award a champion in the North. Now, let me ask you this.
I was waiting for it. Bring it to me, David.
If the Dolphins win in Orchard Park, I'm not willing – and listen, I so want to cannonball into the deep end with the Dolphins, but they have a very hard schedule. Okay, I wouldn't – I'd put if they win this Sunday, they'll make the playoffs. I feel confident about that. If they win this Sunday, they will make the playoffs.
If they win this Sunday, they will win the division. If they beat Buffalo in Buffalo.
So you're –
after beating New England in New England, I'm willing to jump into the deep end of the pool with the Miami Dolphins. Fins up, everybody.
Yes,
if they win this game, the Miami Dolphins are the winners of the AFC East. Now, obviously, we all know the one thing that can throw a wrench in that, and that's if the quarterback gets hurt. But there may be more than one division on the line starting tonight with the Lions in Green Bay. It could be the Dolphins have a shot to win the division this early as well. And the Niners have already won their division. So there's already more done than we know. Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, how you been?
I'm For Klempt, I'm at 4. I'm at 4 bars. The MiFi's right effing here. I don't know how in the world this keeps happening. I had the computer looked at and the MiFi looked at on Sunday. I don't get it. I don't get it. I understand in the world out there you can have a little glitch in 3 seconds, but that's the second time today I've been just knocked off the air and had to connect back in. I'm literally looking at full bars. Fuck. PC. I had a Mac. Still have a Mac, but it's old as hell. Haven't used it in years. They can't. It's too early. Second
But
half
yes,
of the
I would.
You can't. I think it's after week 9. I think they're locked into 9 games, and then they can flex. Monday Night Football can't flex until after Thanksgiving. And we will be flexing the first game after Thanksgiving because right now it's Chicago at Minnesota. I have a feeling we'll have a different game on.
Who will the quarterbacks be in that game?
I don't think the Vikings have the guts to trade Cousins, but they should. They should pull the Mets. They should. They should pull the Mets. Well, what they should do is they should re-sign him. That's what they should do. They should sit down now and say, listen, we got to negotiate a deal now. If we don't, we're going to trade you. So do you want to stay, yes or no? Yes? Okay. What will it take?
Yeah, what's your number? 42 a year? We know it's guaranteed. 3 for,
Right. Right. We got it.
3 for 126.
Yeah, right. 3 for 130. 43 and a third. What do you say? And my guess is he'd ask for 150. And we'd have to make a decision. Is we're going to spend the extra $20 million? My lawyer friend thinks I need to check the flux capacitor. Thanks, Bob.
Well, is it not better when you hardwire? Is it worse when you're hardwired to the...
Well, the hardwired it doesn't work at all. This is a total... This sucked. Everything I asked for and paid for sucks.
What kind of router is it? Do you know? Is it an?
I don't know, but it's right effing behind me. I mean, I can't have it any closer.
Dang.
And it's another reason why I can't wait to get back into the condo. It's a hardwire there. Never had a problem back in my condo. In fact, the hope is to not only go back to hardwire, but to actually use the Comrex and make the audio sound even better.
But you're going to have to get and I can't think
Albert.
No, but you got to get, I can't, the name escapes me, but basically it's a switcher for your router. So you'll take one thing out of your router, plug it into your, into this, and then you've got extra ports. So you put one into your computer, one into your Comrex. That way we can still have this so we can see each other. Then you just got to hit the mute on, your microphone on this because you don't want it two-way.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Some final thoughts, pick or two, coming up in less than 20 minutes. Our poll question, who's going to win the Ryder Cup? Tough to have more than 2 choices since it's just the U.S. versus Europe. I guess we could have put C, it'll end in a tie. But technically,
But then Europe retains the cup.
correct. They don't win the cup, but they retain it. It's kind of like, as Mark pointed out earlier in the week, it's like boxing back in the day. You either had to beat the tar out of or knock out the champion.
It's why I contend to this very day that Marvin Hagler still won that fight. Leonard never took the championship from him.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, every time I watch the fight, Hagler looks better. I will tell you live, I thought Leonard won the fight. And we were all watching Sugar Ray. He hadn't fought in 4 years or whatever. That was the whole. You can't watch the whole judges thing. It's a really hard job to judge a fight. It's tough to watch both fighters at the same time. It just is. You just naturally end up watching one fighter more. I don't know how you can't acknowledge that fact.
It's really hard. It's really hard to pay attention to both fighters. And it seems like it wouldn't be. They're right on top of one another, but it's not that easy.
So you're right. You and many others still very, very upset about that.
Not as upset as I used to be, but just that you brought that analogy up.
Right. Right.
It's what instantly, when it makes me think of the retaining the cup, it's, well, you retain the title. You didn't take the title from you.
But the one thing that does, to the public and to the judges, clearly, it may have been Hagler's belt, but Sugar Ray was the champion.
Right.
That's one of those deals where it's two champions fighting against one another. They're on equal footing with the judges. When you're right, normally the champion kind of starts out a couple, 2-3 points in the lead. You got to take this sucker from them. So, but anyway, that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, at Florida Sports Network or floridasportsnetwork.com. Who do you think will win? Mark always picks Europe. He picked USA. See, this is like him picking the Bengals to win the Super Bowl because Joe Burrow said he wasn't a Taylor Swift fan, and that appealed to Mark. Mark is now so anti-Rory McIlroy that he's picking Team USA, even though they haven't won there in 30 years.
Pretty much nailed it, David. Nailed it.
Listen, we are very open with our biases on this show. We have a lot of flaws. We've always been pretty good at telling you, listen, I'm saying this for a reason, and it may make no sense. And I am just, to me, Team USA in Europe is Texas. And until they won in Tuscaloosa, I didn't pick them. Team USA on the road in the Ryder Cup are the Chargers. Very talented. A lot of times we think they're the most talented team on the field. How often do they win? And much like the current coach of the Chargers, we've had a few Ryder Cup captains screw things up.
Yeah, you could steal that line from Newsroom in the Open right there about the Chargers. If you're so blanking good, how come you lose so blanking always?
That's right. So 1:30 in the morning, Ryder Cup starts. What, tomorrow's USA Network all day?
All day long, USA Network.
And then Saturday and Sunday at like 1:30 or so in the morning, they start on USA for a couple hours, and then it's NBC till basically like noon.
Fired up. Football Friday with the Ryder Cup going on. Saturday and Sunday mornings getting ready for football with the Ryder Cup on.
Ooh, think about that. Ryder Cup, no need to watch game day. You just watch the Ryder Cup right into your college football.
Don't have to have that new remix song ruin your Saturday morning.
Are you as bent out of shape about that as a lot of other people that I know are? Man.
They had the perfect setup. It sounded good. It was right. Everything about it.
It worked.
They had a great bridge because they had kind of a country band and they flexed a little hip hop in with it. They tried to appeal to all sides of what popular music is right now.
Right.
And then they go with a remix.
And you're saying it didn't work for you?
It didn't work for me at all.
I don't know anybody who likes it, to be honest. I will say and I don't know if anybody noticed, but Monday Night Football kind of redid their open.
I missed it. I had obligations Monday night. Daughter has gymnastics on Monday, so I missed the open. And I know what Chris Stapleton and Snoop redid the Phil Collins song.
Yep. In the air tonight. Yeah. I got to admit, it was good. And you could say, well, you're biased. I got to admit, I didn't like the last open, to be honest. They did a good job. The editing is spectacular. To all the beats in that song, the editing is tremendous. The editing is award-winning. So it worked for me. I saw it. I mean, they showed it at the production meeting Monday morning, and I was like, damn, I'm ready to go. All right. And I got to admit, there's not much that they show me at 10 in the morning on Monday in which I want to get into a 3-point stance about.
Hard for me to get excited about a Phil Collins song.
Fair enough.
That's kind of where I am there, but maybe this week, maybe when we're back to the real start time for Monday Night Football, when we're done with the Monday night doubleheaders for a while now, that we can get back into a routine.
I would use the Rihanna Jay-Z song personally as my get ready for football song. Okay. But, I thought they did okay. So check it out if you missed it this week. Game day and Monday Night Football, they both have new opens, and, see if you like it. I mean, the network only spent, like millions on it. So, just feel free to offer your opinion on Twitter/X.
So do you like the Lions tonight?
Yeah. Yes, they're the better team.
Jordan Love has the second worst completion percentage in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
53%.
I know. I will say he's played most of the first 3 games without his weapons. I mean, Watson basically missed 2. Jones has been, unavailable for most of the season. Here's the thing I like, though. He didn't complete a pass in the fourth quarter in the loss at Atlanta. He then comes home and plays really well in the fourth quarter in the come from behind win. The Packers are where they should be. They should have beaten Atlanta. They should have lost to the Saints. They have the record they should have. They're 2-1. But I think Detroit's better. I mean, do you think Green Bay is going to Kansas City and beating the Chiefs? Do you think Green Bay is going toe-to-toe with Seattle and taking that game to overtime? No, the Lions are better. They are. They're a better team. Now, what I want to see is Detroit's front be the best unit tonight because the Packers are missing some linemen. I mean, that young pass rush needs to deliver tonight.
It's where the way Montgomery ran the first game would help a ton. He was strong between the tackles in both the Kansas City game and the next game before he got banged up. So that'll be interesting to see if they're going to run Gibbs between the tackles, because that's not how they intended to use him, and they will have to tonight.
Question in our Twitch chat room is, are Aaron Jones and Christian Watson playing tonight? Jones is a definite yes. Watson, they kind of threw a qualifier on him yesterday, but he practiced in full twice last week. It would be shocking if he didn't play tonight. Now, the whole left side of the offensive line's not playing tonight, but Jones and Watson should be playing tonight. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. You know the drill. It's next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Talk to Ryan, Logic Man, whenever he's ready. Problem is he's not open early enough for us. It's the only bad part about doing mornings. You can't really take the show on the road anywhere.
No. That's why that Chase Elliott event worked so well. Leading into a, what was it, 11 a.m. event or something like that. You know, worked perfectly. Holy blank. Barca probed for alleged bribery of refs.
What?
There's a report that Barcelona, the soccer team, charged with suspected bribery for payments worth over $7 million to companies linked to the former VP of refereeing. Holy blank. That's something.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. It is the Diamond District bonus hour, only for the 239. Proud to do it to our longtime home base. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a show, that's for sure. So we thank you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com.
Before we get to all the stuff here, there's some TV numbers that are out. I don't know if you've caught them yet. Of America's game of the week. Chiefs and Bears. You know, the game everybody wanted to see, that enthralling game.
Yeah, well, there's a big caveat to it, though.
There sure is. Because apparently 24 million people watched it.
Uh-huh.
And it scored the highest among female demographics across the ages of 12 to 17 and 18 to 49.
I wonder why that is, Mark.
I want to offer a formal apology for picking the Cincinnati Bengals. It was inaccurate, and it was a knee-jerk reaction to something that I shouldn't have done. Joe Burrow was wrong.
You are intimidated by the Swifties, aren't you?
Damn right I am. You're damn right I am.
I tried to warn you, and I know I look like the least hip person in your life. I get it. But you don't mess with Mark, you have a better chance of taking Social Security away from old people than you do of messing with the Swifties or the Beehive. I'm just saying. Honestly, I would fear them more than the third rail of American politics. I would. That's because at this point, most of us think it's not going to be there anyway, but I digress. So I'm just telling you, you took on, and I mean, I admired your gumption. Onions, actually. You had onions. And you know what? Miller and Moulton have always respected onions.
Yeah, they're making me cry now.
But listen, and I am very serious when I say this. Did NBC pay her to commit to coming to the Jets-Chiefs game? Because apparently she's coming.
Right.
Right. And the happiest people in the world are NBC.
You got that right.
So, you know how they have the over-under bets as to how many cutaways we're going to see? Like if Colorado's playing USC Saturday. Noon kick, by the way, and it's in Boulder, which means it's a 10 a.m. local kickoff. Once again, shut up and cash the checks. But
yeah, that's right. Because Colorado won the week last week. They'll win it again at noon this week.
Right. And the reason, shut up and cash the checks. That's how it works. You guys want the money. This is what you have to do to get the money. Don't complain about it. But there will be, a bet as to how many times we're going to see a cutaway of Dion. And it'll be like 30 something. I mean, you see him a lot. I mean, there's 150 plays. A lot of chances to see him after said plays. A lot of downtime. Well, how many Taylor Swift cutaways are we going to get?
As many as they can get. I'm not joking. And David, you're more inside baseball on this than I am. But don't you think once they figure out where she's going to be, that there's damn near a camera exclusively dedicated to shooting Taylor Swift?
Oh, absolutely, Mark. Absolutely. Yes. 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 There's a better chance of a Taylor Swift camera than a goal line camera. And that is not a joke.
And it shouldn't be. It's the biggest star on the planet right now.
And when they're having their production meeting, it's like, well, where are we going to take this camera from? Well, why don't we just take it from one of the Jets? I mean, do we really need to watch Zach Wilson on the bench?
We need a Robert Saleh cam this week.
Yeah.
Do we really need to see a coach cutaway? Give me Swift cutaways. And give them to me swiftly.
Boom. Well, you got to figure. I mean, you got to have a Taylor Swift cutaway after every catch, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So there's 5 or 6 right there.
Then replays of cutaways of the actual when he catches it shot.
Then you'll have her cheering when the Chiefs score. And you figure, Jets good defense and all. So what do you figure, about 24 or so? I mean, 3 touchdowns for the Chiefs. Oh, there you go. Now we're at nearly double digits. Don't even know who she's going to be in the booth with. I mean, what if she's in the booth with Brittany Mahomes? Oh, for goodness sakes.
No way. She's not sharing that spotlight.
Well, hey, listen, I mean, I don't think Kelsey can get a road suite. Now, the Chiefs can finagle a suite or two, but
it doesn't need Kelsey to get. If she's going to the game, she's getting a suite.
Well,
NBC called up the Jets and said, "Don't know what to tell you. Move some people out. Taylor Swift's coming to the game. I need her to be opposite the press box so I can get a camera on her the whole damn time."
Mark, you make a dadgum good point. I'm sorry, it's stupid. She got Goodell's suite. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking. My bad.
Dan Patrick on a show said, "Is Travis Kelce the MVP of the NFL just because of bringing Taylor Swift in?" And it's hard to argue against it.
I'm sure Kelsey's getting phone calls going, "Listen, I don't want to get involved in your love life, but you have to date her for the rest of the season."
The NFL has had a problem with its younger audience. This has done more to help the younger demographic than anything else possibly could have. Who cares about this damn Toy Story game? Yeah. Slime, the Nickelodeon slime? No, they figured it out. Just get a player to date Taylor Swift. It's that easy.
Listen, I know this is totally ruining your segment. I got to admit, I love this story. I do. There's the diva wide receiver guy in me. I mean, this is the diva wide receiver.
It's time for someone to take back this segment.
Whatever.
If for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Did you see, by the way, the clip of the Kelsey podcast yesterday in which Jason, who plays the host, says to Travis, Travis, thanks to you, we've got quite a few new listeners to the podcast. And so they're asking questions. And so are you ready to answer some of them? He goes, sure. Jason goes, the first question from, and it's just, sounds like a 14-year-old girl's thing. What's a field goal? I'm telling you, the Kelsey podcast is tremendous. That was before he started dating Taylor Swift.
They're now the #1 podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Jersey sales up 600%. It's unreal.
It's awesome.
All right, let's get through this here. 1781, 9,000 Americans, 7,000 French troops begin the siege of Yorktown.
That was it, baby. This is where it ends.
Yep.
For all intents and purposes.
Today in 1919, the fastest major league game was played. The Giants beat the Phillies 6-1. It was played in 51 minutes.
I'm guessing there were no TV commercials.
Walter Hagen won the 4th PGA championship today in 1921. Tom Harmon for Michigan had 3 touchdowns today. One was a 72-yard run, one was an 86-yard run, one was a 94-yard run.
Hold on. That's 256 yards just in touchdown runs.
Today in 1951, Norm Van Brocklin passed for a record 554 yards for the Rams. In 1951. The Yankees beat the Dodgers on NBC today in the first color TV broadcast of a World Series game in 1955. Ted Williams hits his final home run, number 521 today in 1960. Hey Jude goes number 1 today in 68. The same day Janis Joplin announces she's leaving her band Big Brother and the Holding Company. 1976, Ali beats Norton in 15. And Stevie Wonder released Songs in the Key of Life, one of the great albums of all time.
Hold on. The Ali Norton fight, what year was that?
76.
Oh, that was the Yankee Stadium fight. Norton won that fight. He did. That's one of those. He won at least 8 rounds, maybe 9, but Ali was getting all the decisions at the end.
Today in 81, Olivia Newton-John released Physical. It was the Billboard Song of the Year in 1982 to tell you just how bad music was in the early 80s.
A lot of cocaine in America in the early 80s. A lot of cocaine.
Today in 88, Oral Hershiser breaks Don Drysdale's record for 59 consecutive scoreless innings.
The amazing part of it was that he needed the game to go extra innings. A 9-inning game, his scoreless inning streak would have been 58. Amazingly, the other team cooperated. It was scoreless. It went to the 10th, and because he threw a scoreless 10th inning, he got the 59. Drysdale's streak was 58 2/3.
Today in 97, Europe wins the Ryder Cup. First one contested in continental Europe, the first of 6 consecutive victories at home for Europe. In 2014, they beat us again. 3rd consecutive time. And it was today in 2020 that the Lightning, with a Game 6 win the Cup over the Dallas Stars. Aaron Judge hits his 61st home run a year ago today. Confucius, Ed Sullivan, and Tom Harmon all born today. Steve Largent, 69. Grant Fuhr is 61. And Hillary Duff is 36. What did I miss, David?
Ted Williams hit 406 today. Today was the day that he was hitting 399 and a half, but it was rounded up to 400. And they had a doubleheader. And Ted Williams had to make a decision. Am I playing or am I sitting and hitting 400 by sitting? And he said, come on, I'm playing. He goes 6 for 8 in the doubleheader, hit 406. By the way, 37 homers that year, hit 406, did not win the MVP. DiMaggio hitting 56 games that year. 4 sports writers left Ted Williams off their ballot. Off their ballot. Didn't win. Hit 406 with 37 homers. Didn't win MVP.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Michigan, where in Detroit man won $200,000 because his friend texted him. He hit a $200,000 Club Keno ticket, and the store that he bought the tickets from pulled the winner. His buddy said, hey, did you win? I don't know. Pulled out the ticket. Damned if he didn't win. $200,000. For the bad, we go to Tennessee, where a family went into their garage after going to the grocery store to find a rattlesnake in the baby walker. Fortunately, they didn't put the baby in the baby walker with the rattlesnake in there. The man took the rattlesnake out and killed it with the shovel. And we go to Jupiter, Florida for the ugly, where a man is recovering after being attacked by a rabid otter. Joseph Scaglione was feeding the birds that gather outside in his backyard when they all took off. He looked up. No hawk. Looked back down. Said there was a brown head sticking up over the bank of a pond. Didn't know at first it was an otter, but he realized it was. He started backing slowly towards his gate, but the otter pounced and bit him 41 times. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, September the 28th, 2023.
Well, obviously, we've got Thursday Night Football. Lions, a 1.5 favorite over Green Bay. Over-under is 46. So they're basically saying 24-22, 24-23, that type of game. Baseball, huge one for the Marlins today. I mean, they're tied with the Cubs. They own the tiebreaker. 4 games left. Marlins in New York to play the Mets. Cubs in Atlanta to play the Braves. Orioles can clinch with a win at home against the Red Sox.
I would lay the 2 points and take Detroit tonight. I'm not messing with the over-under. I'm just taking the Lions.
And they will win the NFC North tonight. Yeah. You heard it. Miller and Moulton. Football Friday tomorrow. We are red hot with our picks, folks. Smoke it.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in